Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Comic Art Live presentation coming to you from sunny Ohio. Believe it or not, it's the sun is just going down, but it was a beautiful day here. So before we get started with our interview and art sale with Dan Lawlis, I wanted to thank everybody who was at the Heroes Con this past weekend. It was an incredible experience for those of you who were there, and for those of you who weren't, you really missed out on probably 3 days of the best OA hangout meetup that you could possibly ask for. There was, we only got 35 people in the photograph on Saturday, but there were easily 200 CAF members in attendance, and it was just a fantastic time. I see I picked up, Scott delivered a piece of artwork for my daughter. Thank you, Scott Wingo. I'm going to get a picture of Gwen with that artwork. She was super thrilled to get it today when I finally got a chance to show it to her. And Alfredo, what a surprise getting to hang out with you. Is Bill still hungover? No, I'm not, Brett. I actually didn't drink it all on Sunday, so I'm well. I can't even say I'm recovered yet. I'm still catching up from that. But again, it was a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to doing it again next year. I mean, I'm certain that that'll be another good meetup for us. And as I've had several conversations with other collectors, I hope that this isn't just an annual thing. I hope that we can figure out what others, cons that we can get together at, or events that we can host. And I, of course, always encourage everybody to just set up your own meetups wherever you are. I mean, there's collectors all around you, even if you don't know it. I'm sure, I can help put out the feelers for things when you want to set up something in Milwaukee, right? There's, there's going to be at least 10 collectors that would like to get together. So those sorts of things need to happen more and more often. And this weekend was just a perfect example of why this hobby is so fantastic. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it, getting to meet so many guys who've been in the chat, and gals, of course. And I was disappointed. There were a lot of collectors there that I didn't get a chance to meet. There was the contingency from the Cran Boys here in Ohio that went down there. And I did see Shane and Paul, but I missed out on 3 or 4 other people in that group. And I don't know how. I mean, I literally didn't sit down the whole weekend. I was walking the hall primarily every single day. And there were many, many, many highlights. But we'll talk more about that on Thursday as well. I shot a lot of video. I've got a lot of photographs that people have sent me. So I'll put together a really, really good presentation of what it was like to be at Heroes. And I think everybody who wasn't there is really going to enjoy it. And I probably will encourage you to come out to the show next year, because it is definitely top 2 shows in the country. Baltimore and Heroes are the best. So, all right, well, let's not keep my guests in the green room any longer. I've got Dan Lawlis and James Mealy with me this evening, and welcome to the show, both of you. How are you doing?
Howdy, hey, howdy, ho.
Fantastic. So glad to be here. Super excited. I'm a big fan of the show, so.
That's right, Dan. I have to thank you for the many hours you've spent in the chat, along with many others over the last couple of years. I sincerely appreciate that. It's the shows are, we get a lot of views after the shows, but it's the people who are there to interact with us while we're doing the shows live that make it really special. So having you be in the chat has always been a good thing for us.
For me, the experience of looking at this art together, it's really, really a different and new experience. This is social media that allows us to do now, and I'm enjoying it. To see these things and remember them, some of them that from my past, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a different and wonderful experience this way. So. Yeah, it's a great thing that's happening here.
No, it indeed. Yeah, we had the weekend was just great, in Heroes too, just because it was just cool seeing so many people that I know have become friends because of the chat that we've been doing here over the last couple of years, and then seeing them in person, talking face to face for the first time after watching them chat in the chat all for the last couple of years. It was just cool for me just to kind of sit back and watch all of that happening as well. So this is I said it many times over the weekend, but that's what makes our hobby, this our segment of pop culture and comics, the most fun is the relationships that we get to have with other collectors and artists. And it's just something different that you just don't get if you're just collecting comics or statues or whatnot, or film memorabilia related to the hobby. Original art collectors and the people who make the art are really it's a special relationship that we all have. So I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but I just had such a great weekend, and I'm still kind of coming off the high. So not the drunk, but the high of getting to hang out with everybody. So Dan, why don't we got to talk about you. That's why you're here tonight. We want to know a little bit about, not a little bit, a lot about your career in comics. I know that you were active early. Then you took some time off. But so tell me a little bit about you as an artist, and when you kind of got the bug to do comic art. I mean, did you, when you were whether you went to school or you didn't? I mean, were comics kind of the end goal at the beginning of that?
Oh yeah. When I saw comics early on, I immediately loved them. Just fell in love with them completely. But now my mom was an artist, and so I think I kind of had that in me because I'm one of 8 kids, and when I'm number 7, and I think when 7 came along, they're just like, "Here, kid, shut up, take a piece of paper and draw," and we did, and so I would draw comics all the time. I'd draw superheroes and stuff, and yeah, so it was from the start, and of course it was high school when somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I got this book for you. It's how to draw comics." And I had seen how to draw comic books before, how-to books, and I said, whatever, yeah, sure. And the next day he brings me How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And this is a book I dreamed existed. I actually hoped that this book would have actually existed at some point, and there it was. So I just ate it up. That was the end of it,
Sure.
I was done. I was going to be a comic artist.
That book was fantastic, right? I got it too because I wanted to be a comic book illustrator.
Yeah, I got it over on the shelf. It's completely fallen apart. It's like all the pages are they're all in there, but there's no, the binding's like gone. I just took it apart to look at it and all that sort of thing.
But from there, okay. So how old were you at that time?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. But high school was when when I really got that I got on the bandwagon. When it isn't just the How to Draw Comics book isn't just the art lessons. It's the Stan Lee blurbs. Hey, true believer. And you just you jump on board with that too. You get sucked into the spirit of comics, and so I was like, I'm going to work at Marvel Comics. That was it, the goal. And so I went to art school, and that was always the goal throughout it. And then in '87, I got my first job there at Marvel. I met Archie Goodwin at a comic convention, showed him my artwork, and he said, "Yours is really good." So it was got me in contact with Carl Potts, and then I started on Strange Tales and Shadow Masters and that sort of thing. And I did 10 years in comics. And then, went a little bit of Dark Horse in there, which actually is my favorite work, the Barb Wire stuff, the Agents of Law stuff. Another thing I really liked at Marvel was the collector cards I did. Wolverine versus Hulk, Spider-Man versus Wolverine. There was a series of them, and those were the most satisfying thing. And the painted series, Star-Lord painted series, a 3-part painted series, which I enjoyed quite a bit. So, but after that, I'm making $400 a week, and then I got a family coming along, so I just couldn't stay in the business. I wanted so bad to stay in the business, but because I love it, but sure. I needed, so I went into advertising then, but I'm still, still doing all the drawing. So I haven't been I'm still been drawing all these years. Just now it's I'm better, and I'm actually really excited to do comics again, because there's a possibility, the crowdfunding and all that kind of stuff, where you can take a comic book and it takes 6 months to do one. That was so frustrating, was I couldn't do the quality I wanted in a month. And then now maybe take 6 months to do something, just mint it out, make it as wonderful as you can. I'm finally excited again to do comics. I'm just totally jazzed up. So right now I'm working on Kent Menace and for American mythology. So
oh, sweet.
That's
what school did you go to? Just out of curiosity.
College for Creative Studies in Detroit.
In Detroit. All right. That sounds really, because I grew up in the Cleveland area, so that does sound familiar.
Yeah.
All right. And you said you met Archie Goodwin at a con, and that was
Motor City Comic Con. Yeah.
Was it like a portfolio review, or did you just
kind of? I think it was just they back then they were pretty open with it, and he would just be at his signing autographs, and I just came up with my portfolio, my giant case of artwork. Yeah, actually, a year before that, I tried to get into Marvel DC. I just bought a plane ticket, went to Marvel offices and DC offices, marched in without an appointment to each office, and sort of begged for a review. And I got a review with they shredded it, but it was like I wasn't ready yet, so that's just the way it goes.
Do you remember who you talked to when you went there doing that?
I don't remember the guy at Marvel. I can't remember who it was, but it was Sal Amendola at DC.
Sure.
So he kind of said, good points he was making, and saying, hey, just continue to art school. You're going to be ready when you're done, which is basically what happened then,
Well, that's fun. I mean, I can't say that I've talked with anybody who had the gumption to go into the offices without an appointment and show off the work. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. So, but anyways, yeah, I was just focused. I was too stupid to realize that I could have failed, you know. So
Well, maybe they forgot. It took a year. They forgot about you. Then you saw Archie, and then that was the
yeah.
beginning
Well,
of good
also I
things.
was honing my craft. You know,
Yeah, of course.
you get a, you know, even honestly, even the past year, I've gotten better since I've decided to go back into comics. I've started, you know, pulling out my books, study, and just hone my skills, and really because I really want to. I'm excited again, you know. So I'm jazzed up to do some, you know, some cool stuff, you know.
Sure, of course, of course. What was it like working at Marvel during and at the beginning? You know, when you first met Carl Potts, and
Well, I would like to
how did
say
they
it
work
was
your first book? I'm curious.
honestly, it wasn't a lot of fun because I didn't have what we have right here. Talking to other people, interacting with people. I finished my work. I put it in the FedEx box. That's the last I saw it, and just until it came out in print. And so I didn't really, you know, that part of it was, you know, I'm working in a room and that's it. It was I didn't like it very much, honestly.
Hmm.
It's much more interesting now, frankly. So
So, what kind of conversations did you have with the writers? You know, you obviously got some kind of a script to work with, but
yeah.
yeah,
But again, and again, I think it was the distance.
yeah,
If I was in New York and I could walk in and talk to these guys, that would have been different. But the phone conversations weren't much to it. Back then, it was kind of like, "Here's your story, just do it," you know. And and
you've got
so
30 days, get it done.
exactly. And it wasn't a lot of, you know, it wasn't like working it out with Frank Miller or something, and you know, doing these panels that were you know, perfectly balanced and had timing and rhythm and stuff. It's just like, is it done? You know, that's it. But which was frustrating. That was frustrating, is not being able to get that stuff, you know, get the quality I really wanted in the
Hmm.
time. But I think I finally hit my stride on Barbed Wire and Agents of Law when I was at Dark Horse. That's when it kind of came together. I got an inker. I got an inker, Ian Aiken. I really liked his work. We just meshed together really well, and I really had a good time there. It was fun, and the characters. I thought Barbara was cool. He was wild, and then working with Keith Giffen was interesting. His stuff was pretty wild, as you can imagine.
Oh yeah. So what?
So
So you felt that the work experience was better, or just what
yeah,
what
yeah,
part?
I don't know. It seemed like they were a little more like I don't know, just what do you want to do more? You know, maybe it was just because I was getting better, and suddenly I had few more choices at that point. Did I want to do, sort of thing, not just starting out taking whatever, you know. Anyone was grateful for anything in the beginning, as you should be as an artist, you know. But yeah, I just liked it. It was kind of cooler characters or something. I don't know. Kind of, I thought they were different, and I liked it. So
Sure, sure. Marcus wants to know if you got to meet Pamela.
no, no, never. I remember one time, like they called me and said, "Hey Dan, you know the Cannes Film Festival?" And I'm like, "Well, you can send me the Cannes?" And then like, "Could you do the invitation to the party?" Like,
Oh, what an honor, right?
like, all right, here's a party I don't get to go to. Get everyone
That
excited
everybody's
about
going to
it.
see your invitation, the work you did.
Yeah. So it was a fun little invitation, but still, it was kind of a. For a second, I was like, "Oh," you know.
Did they
Right,
even give you
you
a
hit the.
ticket to see the movie, though? Come on. Did they at least get you some free passes to see the movie?
No, they didn't. No, no.
Well,
That's
that's
all
too
right. You know,
bad.
that's why I'm excited again about the crowdfunding stuff, where we own your, you know, all these, you know, Ditko and Kirby. They don't, you know, they didn't get much money from that stuff, and now the field is changing. If you can create your own work, you can sell it. You can own that IP. You know, if you make a toy out of it, they could sell that. It's like, it's just really, really cool now what's happening. I'm so happy to see the creators. You know, I think you're going to see more and more of this as it goes. People creating their own stuff, you know, communicating, getting an audience, and selling it. And you know, just like you know, Lady Death that Brian Pluto has been doing all these years, and you know, Billy Ducci, like it's like this is going to be you're going to see more of that, I think, you know.
Hmm.
So hopefully for me too. So we'll see. You know.
So
Well, and
have
something,
you?
I've talked with Dan about this kind of stuff in some of our discussions with things when we talk about his work and everything. And something he hit me with that I didn't think about was he said that you know, one of the things he likes about the crowdfunding now versus like, you know, the classic model of the mainstream is the control that you have. He goes, you know, before it's like, you know, when you was trying to crank out a good book on a monthly basis is very difficult, if not impossible, for a lot of artists. And so he goes, you got to sacrifice quality. So you're going to whip it out because you got to get that deadline and it's not going to be your best work, or you got to sacrifice control where where you got to have an inker and a colorist, and you don't have control over everything that's going on with the art. And in a lot of cases, it's both. You got to give up both those things. And he says, so this is a lot better because now he has the time to put into creating something and crafting something that he is satisfied with, rather than just a monthly grind to get it out, get it out, get it out.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, you never want work to feel like a grind. That's for sure. So
yeah, I mean, I appreciate, the John Buscema's, the Gil Kane's, the John Romita's, the Gene Collins, all these guys who did this amazing artwork on a monthly scale or faster,
I was gonna say, yeah, sometimes 2 books a month, right?
So they were really amazing, and so I appreciate that. But I couldn't quite get there. I was there, but it just wasn't. I don't know. Now I can. Which is really interesting.
So from your time at Marvel, I mean, because I know we're going to see a few published Marvel pieces. I mean, who were some of the people that you got to meet there? That I mean, I know you weren't working directly in the offices, but with the time that you would get to be there, I mean, who did you interact mostly with? Mostly with Carl, or I mean,
just really honestly just with Carl. That's about it. There was another guy who I forgot his name. He was on the let's say Freddy Krueger stuff, or the Nightbreed and stuff like that. He was a horror title guy. I forgot his name now.
Clive Barker?
What? Pardon me?
Is it Clive Barker?
Not Clive Barker. I'm talking about the editor.
Oh, the editor.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy. But mainly Carl Potts, and he was a wonderful person to work with, and especially on Shadow Masters. I really, thought that was an interesting thing. He sent me all these books, about ninjas and everything, and the history of Japan. So he was really into that, and so it was fascinating to just go into that. But yeah, I really want to just work on superheroes still, though. So that was the main objective. And when I think it was when I did those cards that I really just I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. So that's when they started to realize that I could maybe do a painted book, and that's why I got that Star-Lord series, that 3-part Star-Lord series, which was really good. You want to find out how good or how bad you are as an artist, try painting something from out of your mind without a lot of reference. I didn't have any reference to speak of,
That's how I knew I wasn't a good artist, was because I couldn't paint. It's very true.
It's a really, really, really challenging thing to do, but it just takes like learning the language. You just have to study, and eventually you hopefully get good at it. So,
well, you definitely have a very interesting color palette. I could, as far as like, because the choices that you make for skin tones and things are very unique. I think that they
thanks. What I'm trying to do is keep the comic colors alive when I paint something, because that's what drew me to comics, was those those brilliant blues and reds, and I thought, can I just keep those and make them real, make them paintings? And so a lot of my stuff is pretty colorful for that reason, because I just purposely wanted to not lose what I love about comics if I'm going to do something realistic.
Sure. So out of curiosity, like say back when you were at Marvel, or even with Dark Horse, I mean, when you were seeing the work published afterwards, because you're sending your pencils in, somebody else was inking it. I mean, how often were you happy, dissatisfied, with seeing the finished product? I mean, I'm sure you learned a lot over time. Once you started realizing how things might get inked or how things might get colored, your expectations probably changed.
Yeah, that was frustrating when spent a lot of time drawing something, and someone came back who just was rushing it, and it was unrecognizable sometimes what you got back. I don't want to get too much into that.
No. Well, I was just curious. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that we as art collectors we don't want to hear stories about other negative stories about other creators, but just that's what I like to know. Is like, were you always happy, not happy?
No, I was not real thrilled with the stuff as it came down, because I just here's the thing, is when you're drawing something in pencil and you give it to the inker, not every decision has been made. So a little like the shape of an eye or something, when I go in to ink that, I'll kind of work with that and go, oh, that's not quite right, or I'll fix it a little bit. The work's not quite done. So you need someone who can read your mind, which is impossible, or you just have to accept what you get. I remember one time though, on that when I was on Strange Tales, one of my first assignments, that was an example of getting something back that was way better when Kevin Nolan inked my my first. Carl said, "Yeah, we got somebody to ink it, and it's a guy, and Kevin Nolan." And I got it back. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can we get this guy again?" Like, can he ink my stuff all the time? He's like, no, he's just a one-shot thing.
Strange Tales Volume 2, number 18. Just for those who want to know what he's talking about, that's the issue.
Yeah, and I was just like, I just couldn't believe like how cool that was. So that can happen where you get someone who's way better than you, and I took my fairly crappy drawings at the time and made them great, but now I'm at the stage where I would like
that Dan worked with was Russ Heath on the first issue of the Shadow Masters miniseries. I thought that was really well done as well. I just loved Heath's inks on Dan's.
Yeah, that was another interesting thing where here's this guy who really had a ton of experience, and he kind of took all of my stuff and kind of made all the technical stuff look good and everything. It's like it was really nice to have that happen. So, but that didn't happen a ton in my career. But I don't know. I felt like my favorite parts were Dark Horse, like as I mentioned, though, just because Ian Aiken he was just dialed into what I was doing. I told him what I was doing. I told him the kind of line work I wanted to see from it, and he just did. It's like someone who, my hand is like a crappy non-steady hand, and I'm not the best inker. And then he gets on the back they can control it completely and finish it nicely. Like, wow, that looks really way better than I could do. So you
didn't like give him some inking samples. You kind of just gave him some direction, and he.
I knew when I saw his stuff what he could do. And he could. It was just maybe there was I don't know if there was something he did that was a sample, but. I can't remember, to tell you the truth, but it looked great when that's all I remember. So,
well, that's good. I mean, that's those are the kind of relationships you probably hope for going into a project.
Yeah.
So what was you kind of hit a tipping point though at Dark Horse after a few years where you just decided that was that you needed to do a career path change?
Well, it was just a dollar thing,
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the Dark Horse. I loved working there. It was a lot of fun. Even I think that actually Star-Lord, the painted series, might have been my last thing, but still that just wasn't enough, because I mean, you're making $100 a day, and then I said I can't make a living on this, so I looked around at storyboards, and I knew a guy who was a photographer, and I said, what do you know about storyboards? He goes, well, I got an art director over here right now. Come and take a look, and he'll see if you can do some work. And he gave me a job that night, 6 to 8 frames at, I think $75 a frame. It's like, oh, okay. I had to do it, it's that's the reality of raising a family, so, and I was happy to do it. Also, the comic book work is so time consuming. It's just, you were working all the time, with storyboards, I could kind of go in there and, crank it out for the weekend or something. And then I, can play with my kids or whatever and be close to them, which is what I wanted to do,
Right. Versus working through the weekends, trying to.
Yeah. I didn't want to miss any, soccer games or anything like that.
That's both worlds.
Yeah, it was a good blend. It was a good, storyboards is kind of like a fireman, like they say it's due tomorrow, and you start drawing like crazy. You just crank them out, and then just lay there, and they come in with the things go clear, we bring you back to life. But so I actually, as I get older, I'm more conscious of that. Just putting those, just cranking those that many hours and staying up all night. But
I see Samuel Rojas in the chat has mentioned something very interesting that I just talked to Dan just before we came on earlier when we were on the phone, and he mentions Dan's cam quality is the best he's seen, and Dan was saying this is off his phone.
That's my iPhone. I couldn't believe it. I plugged it in, and I got this little app called Camo, and it's it's probably getting all my data and everything probably or something. No, I don't know, but it's so I can use my iPhone, which has portrait mode in that, so you can get a little blur technique and all that stuff. It's fantastic. Oh yeah,
nope. I've played around with it. I just haven't. My iPhone isn't as modern as it probably needs to be to make it work better. Once I'm moving down to Florida, and I think in the fall I'm finally going to invest in a decent like an SLR camera that you can use as your webcam, and then yeah, it'll dramatically improve the quality of the video feed. I'm learning 2 years in on this, and I'm still figuring it out.
It's amazing. It's
I'm the same thing. I didn't start doing streaming and stuff until 2020, and I'm still learning on the fly myself.
Very, very true. So, and did you do anything with the storyboards that anybody, was it for commercials?
Yeah, TV commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, various things of Hungry Howards or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just,
Sure, of course.
just that sort of stuff. So,
No, and how long did you do that? You were doing that
since till now.
Okay.
So yeah, till now.
Well, that's good.
Although
But I'm starting. The funny thing is when
you stick your toe into the comic type of thing, doing some of those magazine covers for like was it Dirt Rag, the biking?
Yeah. I was where you look for any job you can, anything that suits you. But yeah, I did a couple covers for Dirt Rag and they had a Bicycle Times magazine too. That was on the first issue of that, but I don't think those magazines exist anymore. But the cover was pretty cool. I thought the one I did, So.
Yeah, and so how do you kind of come back to comics now after?
I think it was the pandemic where it was pencils down in my industry too, in the advertising, and it was pencils down in the major comic companies, but there was one place that wasn't, and there was these independent guys. They had their things. I'm going, well, this is more pandemic proof. This is because that was not good. My wife and I were both in the advertising field, and so it was pretty hard for a year there. But so I started to think more seriously about balancing my career with comics. But then as some of these things got more and more successful, I noticed, I said, well, maybe I can actually do this. Maybe I can actually, switch, go back and leave storyboards and go back to comics. And so that's what I really want to do right now. I'm actually very, working on that feverishly. So
are you kind of split timing, or have you walked
split
away
time
from storyboarding?
time,
You are still doing some of that, but
yes.
But the goal would be to just
but actually it works out
right
now. It works out great because I can when I have the since the comic book work I'm working on is not time sensitive, I can just, here comes the fireman drill and do a quick thing for a weekend, and then I can fill in the gaps, and it's actually a good balance right now. But I would prefer to go full comic books, so we'll just have to see if that's possible or not. But that's what I want to do.
I have a couple of images. I know you've done. I know some of these. I think were recent Kickstarters or Indiegogos, I guess, right? Let's see, where were they? Maybe some of these.
Yeah, there it is. The giant size two-fisted manly tales. I did the cover for that, and then the Kent Menace is. This is a cover now. There inside this magazine, which is out right now on the stands, I believe, if you can find it, because it's sold out pretty fast. But it's prose in there, so it's not a comic book story. But the one I'm working on now is a comic book story. So it's and I'm going to paint it the same way. That like, for example, that there's original art for the Kent Menace piece you see there, and but it's just pencil scanned in, and then I color it. Now the two-fisted manly tales, there's no original art for that. And I realize now, I just did it that way because I didn't have time. I had to just get it done. It was deadline. But I think that I might go back. I am going back to doing original pencils, like the one like the Kent Menace there, and then coloring on the computer as I am. But I just enjoy it more, and I actually think it might be faster down the road, actually. So
just to work everything out in pencil. I know a lot of people are, they kind of go between the both as far as doing the roughs digitally, or they do their rough in pencils before going all digital. But yeah, as collectors, of course, we hope that you stay traditional to a certain level, even if the finished product isn't a traditional piece. It's always nice to get a prelim at the very least, right?
Yes. And that Kent Menace, there's a pretty finished pencil that is scanned in there, but
his art rep also hopes for more.
Yeah, he said James is like, you can't do digital, you gotta.
Yeah, you won't have a job for very long, James, if he only does the digital work. I completely get it, but again, this is kind of where I was talking about your use of color. I just think it's really unique. Like the oranges and the greens and the skin tones.
Well, Dan's a big fan of Frazetta.
I was gonna say Frazetta is probably where I would see that, but it's not something that you see a lot of comic artists or illustrators that are fans of Frazetta using that same technique. But you're right. It's exactly Frazetta. I guess, influence, but I mean, but it's cool. That's kind of those are the things and the skin tones that you see in Frazetta's work that have always made it stand out and be really cool. So seeing it being used here is pretty, again, I enjoy it. I love seeing things that aren't quite the norm, but would have a really interesting reference point like these two.
Bill, actually, can you share my screen? Because I could show you another Kent Menace piece.
Sure. Let me go ahead and close these. Sure. Oh, with that camo, you can swap which camera's being used.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. Can you share that?
Yeah. Or I got it. Yep, I can highlight that for you.
Okay, this is one I did, and unfortunately, there's no original artwork for this. I wish there was, but yeah. So this is the one that really made me decide I'm doing original artwork from now on, because I really want to own this piece in its original artwork, But I did this in I had a day or like 2 days to do it, so I just okay, just got to get it done again. But again, you can see now. There's my Frazetta, Bernie Wrightson, coloring there, that kind of thing. So I'm just having a blast, It's like, so and with this Kent Menace story I'm working on right now, it's 11 pages, and it's going to be like this. The comic is going to be just like this, and there will be original artwork. So
yeah, that's what we all want.
Hooray!
Yeah, Jesus.
Rick Welch says you can do a recreation. Dan, if you
yeah. So I actually have my pages here. Yeah. So it's happening. Oh, you know what's focusing on my face? Hang on a second. I got it on this. As mentioned, like the
portrait.
The portrait mode. You have to take it off that if you don't want to focus on your face, it'll find your face.
I have some similar problems with mine. Yeah, that's very nice.
So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I, let's see if I can find a page that's really.
Well, there's a comment that I know Dan will like from B&G. Yeah, Frazetta vibe with Adam Hughes influence. So
that's ready for paint. When I want to paint the heck out of that in the computer.
Heck yeah.
So that's
those are very tight pencils. That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, it's collectible artwork, but yeah, it's just I'm having fun. I mean, Kent Menace, he goes through time and fights sea monsters. Yeah, it's just fun. That's what I love, and that's what I like too about the independents. You can just do whatever you feel like, whatever's fun. Just have a blast.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I have the Kent Menace, and okay. Yeah, you already saw it. Oh yeah, there's things like this, but this is what I'd like to do is in a comic book. This is just a sample. I'd like to do a Death Dealer at some point. Man, I was talking to Sarah about it, so it's possible there too. But that I did this about a year ago, and just like I say, as a sample, and I kind of want to do a barbarian book. I'm a Conan kind of nut, and so I think that's what I'm going to do, something like this. And there is original artwork for this too. This is pencils and scanned in and then colored. So yeah,
very cool.
Anyways, yeah. So
yeah, Rick Welch said it is a killer Death Dealer for sure.
Yeah,
no, that's awesome. That really is. I mean, I think that there's a lot of benefits to working digitally for certain creators, right? Yeah. I mean, we had Linsner on a few weeks ago, and while he kind of does his figurative work, traditional, he does all his backgrounds digitally just because he wants to have the control over the look and feel and the colors that are used. But
where's that other Death Dealer image of yours, Dan? The one where you colored someone else's pencils?
Oh, I don't know. I won't show that because it's not my work. But this is a page that's from I just did a 3-page, or I think it's a 6-page story for J.C. Vaughn in his Al Capone Vampire. This is going to be posted. This is the first page of that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you could just now this is all digital. There's no pencils on this. Again, that's the last time I'm doing that. But it's you can see what you can do now with the computer. The coloring is just extraordinary.
No, I agree. Well, and that's I'm sure when you look back, say, on your Marvel days, I mean, the late 80s, aren't really the best period for comic book coloring in a lot of ways. There's lots of Stark stuff. You can't, printing wasn't up to snuff, but here, when you can kind of do all your painting digitally, you know, you're really getting what you want out of your finished product. It's not like you handing over the pen and ink pages over to somebody else to color. I mean, you're getting full control over the finished product. I mean, and that's something that's got to be gratifying, but also gives you a better sense of knowing what the end product is going to look like. You know, you can feel that whether good reviews or bad, it was your best work that you were putting out in front of everybody. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think it's you've definitely got an eye for color.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I've said to people myself, I think Dan has one of the best eyes for color theory in comics today, period. Not just in indies, not in the mainstream, anywhere, anything in comics, color wise. I don't think anybody can beat Dan.
Here's a wraparound cover that I did for JC. You know, JC runs the price buyer's guide, and so it was a lot of fun to do this. And like I said, that other page is going to be one of the interior pages of this book.
And this was an Indiegogo too, right?
Yeah, and Kickstarter that he did both.
Oh, Kickstarter. I'm sorry.
Both. He did both. But it's a wraparound cover, so you know you can zoom in on this guy. That was kind of fun. Luckily, I didn't know about his scar. And I said, "Where's his scar?" Like, oh, luckily it's on the other side of the face, so I didn't screw that up. But I would have completely forgot about it.
Well, easy out for that, since he's a vampire. Vampires heal, so there it is. He just healed, the scar healed.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Thank you, James, for figuring that out. I'm going with that.
But that's good. So this was. So how did you fall into doing the work? You know, the kind of, I know with these crowdfunded books that are out there, was it people that you already knew?
The Kent Menace stuff, this is going through American Mythology, publisher American Mythologies. It's not a crowdfunding book, but I don't really know exactly, but a guy named Scott Braden who contacted me. I actually forgot to ask him how he really contacted, maybe just Facebook or something. But he really loved my work, and he had this Kent Menace character. He sent it to me, and I'm like, this is a lot of fun. This is exactly the kind of fun I want to do, the comic books. So, he just started feeding me stuff. So I said, this is a great way to come back into comics, the kind of stuff. I mean, I used to love Doc Savage. I read all that stuff, the pulps and stuff. So this is kind of has that flavor. And the stories that I said, there's prose stories within this book, and every one of them I read, I was like, that was just fun, great stuff. So
sure.
So I'm entering the field back with this particular character, and then I may do a crowdfunding. I would think that would be the next logical step for me to do. But right now I'm just having fun, and I'm still doing my advertising, so I can kind of support myself a little bit with that, and make this stuff just it's just a labor of love.
So do you have any
on the side, bringing in a few extra dineros once in a while to
right
to have fun with, so that he can.
I say that's why I'm doing original artwork now. It's like, plus I just want original artwork too. I just I still have this stuff behind me. I got the Spider-Man here. Oh. The old that piece I did for Marvel Masterpieces. I like having a few of my own pieces still. So
yeah, we're not selling that tonight, everybody.
Not selling that, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm hanging on to a few things.
I was going to ask you that though too. Is do you hang on to some of the pieces that you've done in the past just because they mean a lot to you?
Mainly though, yes, but mainly though the ones that I no one else touched, like with the exception of, like I said, the Kevin Nolan stuff. I kept most of those that I was available to have. Those some got sort of snatched away by other people, but it is fine. I don't, whatever. But yeah, if I did it, it touched my hand last, then I'm more interested in it than. But I do have a number of the Ian Aiken pages because I thought that was a great team up, and I was really happy with those. So I have a bunch of those and stuff. But I'm not really, honestly, not married to my artwork too much, it's just so I'm happy to sell. I did actually sell one of the Star-Lord's cover pieces, the first cover just recently. Someone really wanted it, and and it wasn't, I wasn't, again, I wasn't like totally married to it, and I knew they would love it, so Yeah, sure. I'm
Yeah,
happy
the
to do
guy
that.
who got it, he really loves it because he talked to both me and Dan about it, and I found out later Dan posted a picture. I think it was on Instagram or maybe it was one of the other social media sites. The guy went and got it framed. That's how much he
Yeah.
loves this cover.
Yeah. Same thing happened with I sold a number of the covers or the little cards. I did the card arts. People bought those up, and frankly, I needed a little money at the time too. That was part of
And
it too.
they're in the private chat for you, Bill. I just threw in a link to you. That's where that's on the site on CAF, where the guy who owns it actually put it on the site, so you can see the Star-Lord cover there.
Sure.
You want to share that? This is the only Star-Lord piece that Dan has ever sold. Is this?
Yeah. I'm not against selling them fully, but I'm just for now, I don't know. I gave James a lot of stuff to sell, so it's like you can sell that stuff first and see what happens, and maybe I'll do it. Like I said, I'm not really married to anything, but yep, there it is. That's a pretty big piece too. I don't know if you can see the one behind me is a large piece. It's a big piece, but I'm not going to pull it off there. It might fall. So
yeah, it looks pretty secure where it's at right now.
Yeah.
So but you've held on to pieces that were like you say, that were all mostly 100% your work, except for
yeah.
No, I get it. That's if I was an artist, I wouldn't want to sell everything, unless
right. I want something
offering you silly money for it.
Yeah, to give to my kids or something.
Well, Dan and I have joked about that. He was like, he's holding on to all the other Star-Lord stuff until his list price goes up enough that we can sell it for crazy money, and then we'll go, all right, now we'll sell them.
Yeah. Well, hey, you never know, right?
Right. No, hey, if you can cover your kids' college tuition or something, it'd be worth it. But even here now, what year was this done? Just out of curiosity.
96.
Thank you, Dave.
So, but in that you can still see, the color choices there. I mean, or with the way you're doing the skin tones. I mean, you already had the that kind of feel going there. I mean, there's no greens in it, but I mean, I can see that you're already exploring that kind of palette.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Frazetta nut. I just love it. I love everything about it. I love the colors and it puts in the faces. And Bernie writes into the way. He picked up Frazetta and he ran with it a little bit too. And so those are my guys. Those are the guys I really, really like a lot.
Well, it does show. Definitely shows.
And another thing I loved that Marvel is the one and only Savage Sword Conan cover that I did. That was I think it's
231.
231. Yeah. I love that one. I actually have the art on there back there too for that one. So
that's the one I think Dan's going to have buried with him. He's going to find a way to take it with him.
As a Frazetta, goofball, whatever I am, when I got that job, I was so excited, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to do some more of these. And then Marvel lost the license like a couple issues after that. Like, oh man, so I was so bummed out. But anyways, maybe I would be happy to do that. I was hoping to get something like that at Marvel, but it didn't happen. So when they had the license,
well, now Titan owns it. Maybe you get a chance with.
Yeah,
Titan.
maybe them too. We'll see. It'd be a lot of fun. I don't have to, but I like I said, I love working on Kent Menace and that sort of thing. But if it happens, yeah, I'll be very happy about that. So there's a lot of opportunities all of a sudden. I mean, just even the Frank Miller, Dan DiDio company they're starting. There's possible I would work for them. There's a lot of possibilities now that they're opening up. So very, very excited.
Good time to be a creator. That's for sure.
Yeah. Very, very grateful. That's for sure.
Let's see. I know Rick Welch liked the Savage Sword of Conan cover that you did as well. So he wishes he could own it. But yeah, no, that's great. So I mean, so really the one question I wanted to ask you though is, do you have any real aspirations to write your own stories? I mean, you're working with other creators right now and their characters, but have you given that any kind of consideration to maybe doing your own crowdfunded book? That's 100% all.
It's written.
Yeah, it is.
It's done. Yeah. I think it's pretty good. I've sent it to some other writers I know, and they said, this is really good, Dan. So I don't know. We'll see, But yeah, it's controlling everything is just really what I prefer to do. Because it's like, a piece of music or something. You're you're from panel to panel, and the words they say, and where you place the words.
Mhm.
It's really, I'm a huge fan of a huge Frank Miller fan. And when I got in the business, as I said, 87, Dark Knight just came out, Watchmen just came out, they had all these, the British stuff, the Judge Dredd. I was just like comics are going to be great. And then since then, I haven't really seen that, that come to fruition. It didn't seem like there's other, great legendary stuff that came out since then that I can think of. Me, Hellboy was great. I mean, I'm trying to think of great, IPs that had been created since then. And so I'm a little disappointed, frankly, but like I said, maybe this now with people can keep their own IPs that really love it and they'll put their hearts into it. We may see a revolution in comic art and comics, so we'll just have to wait and see if that happens. But I certainly wouldn't like to be a part of it.
There's definitely, I think, better stories coming out of the last 4 or 5 years than maybe the lull that you're kind of talking about, or that where things weren't as big. Yeah, Johnny mentions The Walking Dead was big. Yeah, I mean, definitely there's standouts there, but a lot of those were more individual projects. Even if they were done with the mainstream publisher, it was a lot. It was the writer-artist team coming in and really turning that title on its head in a lot of ways. And so, taking a very creative vision on characters that were already, cemented in our imaginations and everything. So that's true. But I mean, I think that the publishers are realizing that it's a good approach to kind of let people who are very creative take their own view on a character and run with it, or bring their own characters.
Bill, do you remember that video, the Masters of the Comic Book Art? And they had a lot of interviews of Kirby and Eisner and Neil Adams. And I was particularly interested in the Mobius one, where he said, your publisher's not going to push, the public's not going to push. You have to be the artist, and fight for these creative things to happen. So I think that's what's so great about, the independent market now is, you really can do that, and you can be it's possible. And so,
well, that's something one of the people that Dan is working with right now, Graham Nolan, on the Giant Side Two-Fisted Manly Tales, has said, he goes, all the stuff he's done through crowdfunding, the Chenoo, Alien Alamo, Two-Fisted Manly Tales, he goes, these are all ideas he approached, mainstream editors and mucky mucks with, saying, hey guys, how about this, and they're all like, yeah, no, that's okay, we're not interested. He goes, and so he said, so now I've taken these and I've put them out in the world, and they've become successful. He goes, and so I'm getting the rewards and success from all of this creativity that they were just sidelining, because now we're just going to stick with what we got. We want to keep making money. We don't want to take any risk on anything different. And he goes, and so now as he's able to do that, he's seeing it come to life. And I think that's really where you're going to see a lot more of this coming in the years to come, because you're going to see more creators looking at that and going, you know what? Why should I grind away on this book that they don't let me do anything I want to do? They don't let me have any kind of real creative license with anything I want to do, when I can just go create my own and then reap all the rewards from it. And I think that's definitely going to be the future, the way things go. And so, like I said, I'm excited to see what Dan's going to come up with. I can't wait for a Dan Lawlis crowdfunder. I'll definitely be one of the first people back in that.
No pressure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But I think it just needs to be, if there is editors, they need to be editors who will recognize a Frank Miller and take a chance on him and go, just let this guy loose. Just let him just take a character and just do something really, really creative, because that's what you have to be. I think you have to have that eye for that, and I don't see that happening. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at Sean Gard Murphy's work in the Murphyverse.
Yeah,
I mean, where they've kind of said, let's let him kind of take his own approach to it, his own style of writing and art, and kind of making his own thing. So it happens, but it's like you said, it's like there's a bit of publishers have to be willing to take that risk at the end of the day.
There's great artists out there,
like
Jorge Jimenez, I think is his name. He's so good, but there needs to be or at least a Frank Miller type guy to kind of come in there and just sort of know how to direct those guys, like Sienkiewicz and Bill and Frank Miller on Electra Assassin. I was in art school when I was reading that, and I'm coming in with these art assignments that they gave us, and I'm taking stuff like from like, what are you doing here? What are your influences? I mean, because Sienkiewicz was drawn, like almost kid pictures at some point and
Right.
stuff. And it was just so wild. Again, that was like that, Sienkiewicz is another guy who was like just from that was all happening all in the 80s. And since then, I haven't really seen that as much, just the sheer creativity. Walt Simonson, the Thor stuff. Oh my gosh, was that good stuff? It was so cool. And I don't know, just trying to think of something that gets me excited about like that today. And I don't see it. And I'm not really looking too hard, but if somebody hears about it, tell me, because I want to see what's going on.
Well, Marcus mentioned The Boys, Umbrella Academy, Fearless from Rick. I mean, there's other stuff out there, but so I think it is there. So it's it's just maybe not to the degree that those big standouts, were in the mid to late 80s. Walt Simonson was at Heroes this weekend, and I have seen him at so many shows before, but I've never seen so many people in line for Walt in my entire life. I mean, lines of 150 people. If you've seen Chris Claremont lines pre-COVID and whatnot, I mean, he was there too. Their lines were identical. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like that. I would never have waited in Walt's line at all, but it was just amazing how many people really really respect his work. All these years later, I mean, he's still doing great work today. But yeah, when I think of him, I was a big Thor guy back in the day. So when he took over the book, that was a revelation.
The Beta Ray Bill story and stuff like that. I was just, we were spoiled. I mean, that's what I feel like now. I was like really enjoying it for sure. But now it's like, I probably should have been enjoying it more than I was even,
Sure. Yeah. Philip mentions Trad Moore. And that was kind of like me when I was mentioning like creators who have their own, really unique spin on pre-existing characters. I didn't say Silver Surfer, but certainly, I would say Trad's work on Silver Surfer was where they gave him the full reins to do something incredibly creative, and it was so well received. I mean, Trad's like cemented as an incredible art icon for the rest of his career, just from that work and even the work he was doing before that. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's there. It's but it is always a risk. I mean, comics are still we're not selling as many copies of books today as we were 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's still a risk. And, even I don't buy as many books off the newsstand as I used to. There's a little more expensive.
I don't either, Bill. I get a few things I order online through Discount Comic Book Service from a couple small publishers like Red 5, Warrant Publishing. Mm-hmm. And then the rest is all just crowdfunding. That's where I see the creativity. That's where I see the good work coming from is that. So I just focus more and more on the crowdfunding.
Yeah, well, I think that the body blow what really hit comics was no spinner racks. We all grew up with spinner racks, and you walk in any grocery store, and there they were, and so you had a really large, way of distribution of these comics that just, started to go to the comic book shops, but then you got to find the comic book shops, and I kind of saw back. That's when in the 80s or 97 when I was leaving the business, I was kind of saying, I don't know if this is going to last. It lasted longer than I thought it was going to last, but it's kind of did go the way I somewhat predicted. It was just kind of, I didn't want to be, I remember thinking, I don't want to be pushing 60 and looking for $100 a day job, So
no, that's not going to be a lot to retire on at the end.
No, it would not be. So.
In case Delight loves movies here, they want to know what's on the canvas behind Dan. That's the cover to Star-Lord #3 that Dan has propped up on there.
And what year was that painted, Dan?
That would be 96. 96.
So right at the end, before you moved over to doing the storyboards full time.
Yeah. I'm looking at I actually made a schedule here, but I don't know where I put that. Okay. Yeah, I think it was near the end though.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, 2000 AD always puts out good products, Lyle. I would agree with you there.
Yeah. Anyways. So,
edit. Yeah. So, tell me a little bit more about, or you can't tell us anything about the project that you worked on. Is that something that you think you'll be crowdfunding anywhere later this year, or is that something that's?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I really, I'm just sort of trying to figure out the social media stuff and
Mhm.
try to see if I can build some kind of a following. And what I really want to do is, I have started a YouTube channel, and what I put up speed drawings, and because I have this desire to teach what I've learned over all these years. And you can buy an art book. I remember buying, like even the How to Draw Comics the Marvel way, you'd have several images of to show you how to draw something. Now I can create a video and speed it up, and you can slow it down if you want to, and see exactly how I draw something, and from beginning to end. So that's a lot of fun. But I think it's even more. I think people really want real connection, real art instruction, that sort of thing. So I think I'm going to do more videos on just storytelling and anatomy, and lots of things that really when I look in the comic book field, I'm not seeing happening. Just need to pass on some. So I really want to teach. And I really want to do that through my YouTube channel. So we'll see what happens. But, if I build a following, like David Finch or something is kind of got a crowd. And then at the time, then you can launch
got a crowd in spades. I mean, he's got a small country following.
And I've watched Dave Finch's videos and learned, like, there was one on hands, and like, oh, that's a tip I could use, So, you don't stop. I tell you, don't stop learning. It's just like, you just keep, it's a never-ending process, and sometimes you forget stuff, and you got to read it, learn it. So,
did you find the adjustment coming back into comics difficult, going from the storyboard?
No, because I never stopped drawing. I never stopped drawing comics. I was just kind of like, just for fun, like I'm just, I just always just when I'm sketching, I'm done with assignments, I just doodle in fun stuff, and so it was never. I was always trying to improve the artwork, even when I was doing storyboards. And storyboards is just sort of like, you got to crank it out in a way that helps you a little bit, because you just, you get to commit to something, and the commercial is still telling a story. It's kind of a funny thing, but
right.
You have a beginning, middle, end, and so I have a well-rounded skill set now. I think it actually helped me, frankly, but it helped me about deadlines too. It's like
about storyboarding anyway, so you're really doing the same thing. But we didn't look at any of the examples, so I wasn't sure how finished the storyboards were, as far as images go. I mean, were they
very rough, sometimes not even colored, black and white line. So it's super fast, super speed. Which that was another thing that helped me, is just learning to meet deadlines. Back in the day, in the beginning at Marvel, it's tough to make a deadline, because I'm trying to learn and get better, and not just like chuck out whatever I have at the moment. And so it's a difficult process to meet a deadline when you're trying to improve your skill set on every page and try to do something good.
I mean, did they give you any editorial critiques in between works, or was it just, you got the one done, now we've got another one?
No, yeah, it's pretty much, it's much more like, can you do it? Here it is, and they're trying to crank this stuff out as fast as they can.
Grinding out sausages, basically.
Yeah, they're just that is the way. But I mean, they're trying to do great work. They really do care about their work. Carl Pottson's and those art editors there, they were really serious about what they were doing. They wanted to do great stories. Jim Shooter, I mean, he was all about the story. So, but you have to do that within a very confined period of time. So it's not easy. So.
Well, I mean, again, they had enough confidence in you that they gave you the work to begin with, so they knew you could get it done. That's the main thing. I was just curious, like, if they had any kind of back and forth, but it makes sense. Just keep.
Yeah, it's just just running the ship. They're trying to keep it afloat, because comics, they've had a rocky road. I mean, there were times that were, even in the 70s, they had a kind of a bust, and so. Yeah, it's back and forth. So, but I do say I'm excited about the future now. This is really, really, really cool.
Awesome. Well, I think we're all going to be looking forward to seeing what work you put out there, especially the traditional stuff that the pencils. I mean, those pages that you showed earlier look pretty darn nice.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's interesting too. Is that even the technical pencil, I started to abandon that and go back to regular pencil. You put in my pencil sharpener, and because I'm getting that thick to thin line. I'm getting that just a beautiful work that I love. I don't know. It's like I say, I love Frazetta, so I'm just kind of pulling from him a lot. And his line work was gorgeous. So.
Yeah, I don't think this was Mr. Easy Go Lucky said something. I don't think it was your work experience where he said he used to work on special effects storyboards, and the art director would be right over my shoulder making changes and comments, and it was very stressful.
Oh,
That
I'd
doesn't
never
sound
be
like.
able to tolerate that myself, being micromanaged like that. Oh, no way.
But
Well,
doesn't you
in
probably
my
work pretty independent, right, Dan?
yeah, in my experience with doing storyboards, it's like there's just no time.
Mhm.
It's got to be done tomorrow. I could get an assignment at 5 and it's got to be done the next day. So it's, they get what they get because it's like, but I do know what I'm doing. So that was another thing too. When I was working in a lot of these agencies, the art directors after a while would just say, wouldn't even give me any breakdown. Just like, here's the script. I know what you can do with it. You'll do better. He said, one guy said, you'll do a better job than I could do with this. So just you interpret it, So, and they trust you after a while to tell a story and to be able to think and to be able to break it down, that sort of thing.
Sure. Well, then that's also a huge positive. I mean, building trust with the people you work with. So, I'm trying to think here. I was looking at my list of questions I had for. I think I actually hit on all the things I was hoping to ask. I mean, Dan. I mean, any other anything else about Dark Horse? I guess. I mean, because I know that you kind of mentioned. I mean, having the great inker, that really got what you were doing. I mean, were the stories more fun to do for Dark Horse? I mean, the switch to less spandex and more characters that more swashbuckling or more hero, kind of like you said, maybe not Conan, but at least that kind of spirit behind the.
Well, it seemed a little more like a new thing, because remember the Dark Horse had several of those titles that they're launching all at once. Barbara was just part of it, and they were building a world. Their world building was a lot of fun to be a part of.
Dark Horse Heroes, that's what it was called.
Yeah, it was great, but they had some great villains and I was just having fun. It was a little bit grittier. I hadn't really drawn much like that at Marvel, so it was kind of what I always kind of wanted to do, more superhero-y stuff, and the Agents of the Law had a lot of superheroes in it, and I really liked it. And so like I said, Keith Giffen is this fascinating mind to be connected to.
I love Giffin's work. I mean, what was your experience like working with him?
Well, the interesting thing is he gave me complete breakdowns, like to follow, and I actually like that. To me, more information is better, frankly. And I even say this to anybody who's writing stories: is even if you can't draw out your stick figures in your panels and break it down, because it's a visual medium, and from picture to picture and how it moves and how that is a lot to do. You turn a page in Frank Miller's Electra Assassin hardcover, and that one scene where he's in the morgue, no words at all. You just turn, and that's so effective. And as a comic book writer, you got to know how to do that, how to break down that pages. So I really appreciate when Keith did that. I was like, this is really great, because I knew it would be a great story, and it was. The way he told it, it had rhythm, had movement, and that's fun for me. I don't care about there's no ego involved really. For me, I want the best product possible. I want the best thing to happen, however you get there. If I have to get a great inker to fix my drawings, I'll do it. A great colors to fix my drawing, a great writer to give me a good story. Whatever it is I got to do to get to that final product. So, because I'm a comic fan, and I want the best thing to have. So,
well, that probably worked out for you that way, Dan, because Giffen also is an artist himself, so he probably understands a lot more about the terms of visual storytelling than a writer might.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think Frank Miller said that he thinks the best artists traditionally have always been people who write and draw. It was from that interview, the Masters of the Comic Book Art interview. And so, but he said, collaborations can work, but I think the two guys got to be in tune with each other. They got to be, meshing somehow, or have, they can bounce ideas off each other. That's great, but he always said it's one art. And I think that's true,
Oh, I agree. Yeah, Rich says either you get to get good thumbnails or you write twice as much to describe what you need to do in a panel. So at least with Giffen, it sounds like he was kind of just giving you rough ideas of page layouts and stuff. That's got to be.
Yeah. Well, they were sketches. They were thumbnails.
Yeah.
The full page breakdown with thumbnails, which was really, really great and easy, frankly, to follow and stuff like that. So sometimes someone writes something like, I don't know how to like the Two-Fisted Manly Tales. I love the story Mike Barron wrote in that, but that was complicated to break down, the scene in such a way that it's clear. I'm all about clear storytelling. I really want, I found that 180 degree rule where you don't break that fourth wall. You got the stage and you kind of stick to one side of that stage. And so the storytelling is really clear, which by the way, bugs the heck out of me when I see artists not do that. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're losing me. You never lose. You don't want to confuse anyone ever in reading your story. You want to be crystal clear.
And you're saying like in that work, the Two-Fisted Tales, there was some parts where you were having to kind of,
just a lot of characters coming in and out in interaction. You have to figure out like how they're going to, one's at the bar, one's at the, the whole story takes place in a bar, but there's a lot of people walking in and out and fight scenes. And you've got to kind of make it so that it's easy to understand where you're standing. So it should be clear. And, so that's the game to me. I learned that from Rich Buckler, actually. But it wasn't personal. He did a comic book that had some drawing lessons on how to follow those rules. And I was like, oh, thank you. That sure wish someone told me that. And again, it gets back to me making some videos. I'm thinking, well, this is simple and easy. It was passed to me. I want to pass it on to the next generation and keep the art form as good as it can be.
So you didn't have any communications with Rich Buckler? It was
I did not.
From what he had done in a book, essentially.
No. Yeah. It's funny though. Speaking of guys like him, in talking to people who did meet all these guys, it's a lot of fun because they have stories to tell, and they're like, "Oh, that guy, whoa,"
Oh yeah.
So that's what's fun about the industry right now too, is talking to all these people who've been around and new people and. Like JC Vaughn, he seemed to know everybody. So he's telling me stories. It's just like I'm having a ball just hearing about my heroes and stuff. So
yeah, I had met with Jim Shooter back at MegaCon, and I got him lined up for something in the fall. So I'll definitely have him on the channel for an interview, and that's going to be a blast because the stories he's got. He from where he was at and the creative control and the things that he was able to kind of pull together while he was at Marvel. There's plenty of stories there. And then his career after Marvel is pretty fantastic as well. But I said,
who else would be great is Bob Layton. I saw an interview with him recently, and he is a riot.
He is. I've tried. He's so busy. I've been asking him. He was like one of the first people I asked to do an interview with, and even during the pandemic, I couldn't pin him down. Oh. So I'm trying though. He was somebody who I was going to approach again in the fall. Maybe to be like kind of like one of the main, even if we just had him as a guest on Comic Art Live for one of the panels for an hour, even if I didn't get to interview him, I think let's just to get him on, because I've same thing. I've seen him in a few video interviews and read certainly a lot of interviews that he's done, and he just seems like he would be so much fun to have on. A
wealth of information, stories, like crazy stories. I would imagine he's got a zillion of them. So, ton of fun.
Fingers crossed. I got to do a thing with John Romita Jr. this past weekend too, where I was kind of like the fly on the wall while he was just giving a few fun stories from the Marvel days, and it is. That's the kind of stuff we as collectors, art fans really want to hear.
I saw an interview with him. Was he on your show that I saw this interview?
No, it wasn't with me. It might have been 4C Comics. I think they might have done something.
Somebody did one recently. It was really great. So yeah, he was he's a nice guy, and he's quite a talent. Like he talk about being able to make a deadline. He can really draw. Right? So
that's
good
true
stuff.
So
he's probably one of the more modern guys that I like, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
No, he's still, like you said, he's still cranking them out. He had a lot of nice stories. He was giving meatball recipes as well during this time. he couldn't stop him once he got started on things. But he was pretty fun. I never actually sat down and seen him in person, kind of work a crowd. So it was pretty cool to videotape. I actually videotaped the whole thing. I might. They told me I could share it. So I don't think I'll have it ready for Thursday, but probably by next week I might be able to put something together from that interaction he had with some fans. But it was good. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy seeing that.
Yeah.
I think what his stuff is like. Collectors love that inside baseball stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It fleshes out the whole. It's like being at a convention every week. Like you can talk to some, but also getting to watch people actually create the comic book online is pretty darn cool too.
Oh yeah,
I'm surprised Marvel.
I love
I'm surprised
drawing
Marvel
streams.
and
I've
DC don't do
watched
more of
this
that.
guys like Aaron Lopresti and others. I love watching the drawing streams. They're
a lot of fun. Yeah,
I've always loved that. Even when I used to go to the shows, I loved watching artists draw, because to me there's nothing more godlike than what they do, because here they are, they're given the blankness of oblivion, and through their own sheer power and skill they create substance where once there was nothingness. And what's more godlike than that? I mean, that's as close as any of us are going to get in this life.
Don't be trying to boost our egos. Like, what the
well, it's true. That's what I've always loved.
We're
about
schmucks, don't you know?
I don't think we're going to classify you as a schmuck. Let's see.
But it's fun for me though. Like I'll watch Aaron's show or something like that, and I get all fired up to draw something and then put it online. Yeah, I mean, that's what's great about Twitter. You can draw something. I've been like this week, I've been pulling stuff just out of my sketchbook, and I've got tons of stuff and just just tons of sketches, and I thought, why not just put them up online, put them on Twitter, and it's a lot of fun sharing that. But I'm inspired to do those things all the time, and people can react right away. You can see what they like, what they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that too. Dan told me when he first posted up his Conan cover that he did, he posted up an image and he couldn't believe the response he got to it.
Yeah, it wasn't actually the Conan cover. It was that interior that for the Conan Saga. Remember the black and white ones? And I was just like, this thing's getting like 250, 300 likes on Facebook, which is, pretty high. And I'm like, well, maybe there's something there, So sure. I hit a chord somewhere somehow,
Well, the right people share your stuff. You just never know where it's going to go, right? I mean, that's all.
Yeah, it's funny to see the things that you think no one's going to react to, and the things that you think they are going to react to, and you're wrong a lot of times.
It's easy to get disappointed.
Yeah.
I've posted many things where I thought, oh yeah, everybody's going to love that, and then that's the thing that nobody sees, and then the thing that they kind of gravitate to is the thing I last expected them to find most interesting. So you never know. Social media is fickle, but the bigger the base you get, the better off your chances are of success. Right. Rich Danny's mentioned that John Romita Jr. was on Kayfabe recently too. So I think I missed that one, but I'll have to look that up. Love Kayfabe. They were at Heroes as well. I didn't get a chance to talk to them at all. I saw Rug at Anthony's table for a little while, but when he was there, I didn't have a chance to go talk to him, so missed out on that. But
I think I've seen some of their videos. They're really good. They're good in-depth interviews.
They are. Those guys are fantastic and fun, and they do a really great job of breaking down stories and storytelling. Really, I mean, I think they're fantastic.
Well, if you'd like a story from me, Bill, about me and Dan, I think your audience might enjoy this and show you just how much of a schmuck Dan isn't. Is when I started working with Dan in 2017, that's when I started selling his art for him. Before he had sent me some stuff, I told him how I liked a lot of his work. I especially loved the cover art to Barbed Wire #2, which was inked by Jeff Albert, which I thought was a great inker for Dan as well. And I told him just how much I loved it and why. I even have it on my gallery now, and I have it listed as the 4 B's of Barbed Wire: bullets, boobs, booze, and busting head. That's everything all in one image about the character. And, I told him this back, like I said, like in March, April, when we first started working together. And then towards the end of the year, when he sent me another shipment of art, I think it was like around October or November, the cover was in there. And he said it was mine. He wanted me to have it. And I was just blown away to be gifted a cover like that. And I came to find out the reason he did that is in 2017, him and his wife were having a little bit of a financial crunch. And my coming in and selling his work for him really helped get them through the year. Without having to struggle so much. And so as a gift, he gave that to me as like a thank you for kind of doing that for them. And, I was just blown away that he would do that. But,
James, you look out for me. That's the main thing. Is I think I will be taken so many times if I didn't have James kind of keeping watching over my work, making sure that I sell it for good prices.
That is the kind of person Dan is, guys. It's this, he's one that, when you do stuff for him, when you help him out, he's always wanting to help you out back. He's always wanting to do nice things for you.
All right, it's not
that is Dan Lawlis. He is definitely non-schmuck.
I'll agree to that. So I saw Ron was saying not complaining about the conversation, but will there also be an art sale? Yes, exactly. This was kind of like where I'd said let the guys know probably around hour and 15 minutes into it we would do the art sale. And
thank you, Mr. Easy Go Lucky. Thank you. I do try on my YouTube channel to be entertaining, so I hope that I am, and if I am, I'm glad. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment.
There you go. And I don't think I linked to either of your YouTube channels in the description, but I'll make sure I get that done after the show. So people can check out and subscribe to both of your YouTube channels after we're all done here. So we're ready to show off some art that we're going to sell. I mean, some of it.
I've got it all written down here so that whoever wins, I can write down who wins it so that they can be contacted and we can get all that going. Just to give everyone the heads up for the art now, when the art is done, guys, what you're going to do is you're going to contact me at my email address, which is stringofthreads@AOL.com. Contact me there because I do exact shipping. I'm not going to try to soak you guys for money that way or anything. That's not what I do. So when you win, tell me what you won, give me your address and information, and I will give you back a full price, including the shipping, and we'll go through PayPal and all that then. So that's how we're going to do that, just so you know. So I don't want you guys to think that, you're probably wondering where some of that information was down there that normally is there. This is what I told Bill. I said, I want to make sure I give people exact shipping because I know how the economy is right now on a lot of folks. And so I want to try to keep it as fair as possible and not overcharge anybody or undercharge people or whatever. And so I want to keep it as fair as possible.
Yeah, that's what I like about dealing with James. You're very fair, and that's what I want to be with people. So.
But there is one cravat, and this is something anybody who gets any of the pieces tonight will also get an autographed copy of a comic by Dan with a little remark on it, or as Dan likes to call them, damaged comics.
I call them defaced comics.
Defaced comics, yes.
There you go.
Well, I
just sent Dan a bunch of these. Graffiti.
I sent Dan a bunch of these a couple weeks ago because I knew we were going to be doing this event, and I thought just as a little something from both Dan and I to all of you for all your support over the years, for his art, for helping put money in his pocket as well as mine. Anybody who buys anything today, if you buy some stuff, you're going to get an autographed and remarked comic from Dan and me as a special little thank you for all your years of support.
There you go. Yeah, faced comics. Sam. So that's funny. But no. So what we're gonna do, just like James mentioned, we'll do a claim in the chat. Everything has a lot number. There's 16 lots. So first person to say claim, of course, will get it. And after the show,
yeah, I forget who it was earlier in the chat, but they said they loved Dan's 80s cloak and dagger work. Well, you're going to be very happy in this little art sale section here.
Yep, there is some cloak and dagger in here, but yeah, after the claims are over, I will recap the pieces that haven't been sold, and then of course, if you claim any artwork tonight, I want you to email James this evening, and not do it tomorrow. Just let him know which pieces you got. It's always good. Clearly, include your mailing address and which lot numbers you've picked up, and he'll get the invoices out to you promptly. And I can show his email address one last time. Of course, I'll show it again before the end of the show. Probably end up showing it a few times throughout it, but sequential trez, as in treasures, at AOL.com. So let me get my tab switched here. So all right, well, we'll just go through these 16 artworks. We'll start off with the first one. This is actually a pair of pieces. And so lot number one is for a Red Sonja Conan sketch cover along with a Shadow sketch cover. So for the pair from Dan, the total on that is $120. And like James mentioned, these aren't including shipping prices, but James will get those the shipping prices out to everybody who picks up artwork tonight. Anything that you see with a price on it, that is not including the shipping prices. So for lot number one, a couple sketch covers. We got the one's a Dynamite product too. Both are very good. We love Nick around here.
I picked those out because I figured everyone would get a nice little shot here of both Dan's black and white work as well as his color work. So you kind of get a little bit of everything in that.
Sure. Yeah, Nick Barucci's is a patron saint around here in many ways of everything that everybody's doing on live streams and his support there, but also for getting a lot of creators' work over the years. So love everything that they do over at Dynamite. But very nice pieces here.
Yeah, I want to sell my my Vampirella picture. That he's got to check that out.
Is that something you've done recently for him?
Well, no, but I put it before him. Well, I sent it to him, so we'll see
Oh,
if
you
he
sent it
likes
to me
it.
as a possibility.
But it's something that I think turned out really well. But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, potential sale.
Well, you never know. I know of a lot of people that do that, sending their work into publishers saying, "Hey, this might look great on a comic."
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I do. Well, I do it all the time. Frankly, as an illustrator, I do stuff on spec, and then trying to get after, especially assignments you want to do. So
Mm-hmm. Sure.
like that Death Dealer. That was one of those cases where it's like, yeah, that would be fun to get cover and because I love Frazetta, of course, and that sort of thing. So
Sure.
I did it. I would do it for fun. Heck, I love it. I love that.
Mackie Poo Poo is asking, how do you claim?
Yeah, claiming is all done in the chat tonight. So you'll just type in claim and the lot number. So you can just say claim and a 1, and that will claim the lots that are on the screen. So what we'll do is we'll see this one in the recap. And yep, Samuel Rojas got that right. Claim and a lot number. So we'll show this one. And of course, you can claim anything at any time. I know a lot of people like to see all the pieces before they claim, just to see what is going to be available. So let me go ahead and show lot number 2 now. So we can get that one on the screen here. And lot number 2 is from Midnight Suns Unlimited from 1993. This one is for $100. Can you tell me a little bit about the story on this one, Dan?
It is a story about a guy who's, I think he was a police officer who was pretty awful, and he was, so it was kind of the demons. Something with he would beat the demons out of creatures or people, whatever, something like that. He was as he thought.
I have a little more knowledge on the story here. It's about a racist cop who makes a deal using one of the pages of the Darkhold with this creature called a Troid. You see a whole bunch of them on the screen there, and what they do is Troids are inside of everybody, but they can't break through the skin unless the skin has been, as this creature tells you, tenderized, which of course is something this cop does a lot onto people. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
In the end, the cop ends up having a Troid in him, and he can't get it out, and he's begging people to beat him so the creature can get out, and no one wants to do it. And that's sort of like his comeuppance in the end. This is inked, by the way, by the great Mike Esposito as well.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was a good story.
Oh, here we go. Ronald Shepard got this lot number 1.
Yes, he did. Thank you very much, Ronald.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. No, a very cool piece. And let's see from that.
Yeah, sometimes I look at this old stuff like, hey, that's a pretty good composition. I think I'll swipe that,
29 years old, ladies and gentlemen.
That guy wasn't that bad. He's pretty good.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Swipe your own artwork.
Yeah, right. Well, you never know. I'm sure you in many cases, I think most creators are pretty critical of their work after the fact, right? But it's nice to be able to look back.
But I mean, you forget
that works well.
You forget what you did sometimes, and I pull up stuff and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good. I like the way I approach that. You get the art is a fickle thing. You're like, I still not sure how it really comes together. Just sort of, different people have different ways, and some people approach it with like, Bernie Wrightson said he would just have a vision in his head and then be like an opaque projector just tracing it down on a piece of paper. Yeah, never works that way for me. I start with like a stick figure, start building it. It's almost like the skeleton, the Marvel way in a way, fleshing it out. And so I sort of creating it from the inside out. So that's why I love figure drawing. I love the motion, the movement, and the energy and stuff. And so I never see the full vision, and I'm as surprised as anyone when I'm done with it. It's sort of like, oh, that looks pretty cool. What do you know? That doesn't suck. So.
All right, let's take a look at lot number 3. Now, remember, everybody, you're going to get a remarked or defaced comic, as Dan likes to call them, with the orders today. So let's go ahead. Lot number 3. This is from 1991 from Destroyer number 2. It's the looks like the title page for that, or the first page. Splash. And this one's $125, called Master's Choice. Tell me a little bit about the story on this one.
Well, I think that Destroyer was a series, a book series, right? And they made it into the comics. So it's one of those comic characters I wasn't really wild about. It was still interesting. I think I could have do a better job today with it, but at the time it just wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't for me. But I do love the splash page. That I think is really,
Inker
really.
by
I remember
Inker,
drawing this and going, yeah, that looks pretty good. You know.
Inks are by artist Fred Fredericks, by the way. That's who the inker is.
So this is the best piece of the book for sure. I think if I remember right. Yeah.
The last page also is another great splash page. That's another great page from the book. Up, ML.
Mikhail, thank you so much, Mikhail. With all the time I've had on camera with Mikhail, I finally got to meet him in the flesh this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. We all had a good time. Thank you, Mikhail. Oh, Johnny wanted to know who the publisher was on this one, guys.
That's Marvel Comics.
Yes, Marvel.
The Destroyer is based off the movie character Remo Williams. That's where that comes from.
I think it was a book series first, though, James. Then they made the movie.
Okay. Yeah. I know it from the movie. That's where I first saw Remo Williams.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought the book was first too, but
yeah,
I love the
think
movie.
It was a pretty popular series. I think people really liked it. I had not heard of it when I got the assignment. So, and I remember the writer being rather disappointed to find that out. He goes, "You never read the book?" Like, "Oh no, I haven't. Sorry." You know, which I should have. You know, I wish I had. You know, but again, there's no time. You know, you're like, here it is. Got to get it done. Like,
right.
Okay, get to it. So
you were a fan after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, well, not really, but but it's a solid character. I think I would benefit. Sometimes when you read it, you know, a prose, it takes you in and it really gives you that better fleshed out feeling for the character.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, well, let's go take a look at lot number 4 here, and this is a familiar tale for many people. This is from Strange Tales, issue 12, page 23, a Doctor Strange story from 1988. The lot 4, and this one is $150. So, I mean, how many?
I think this was written by Peter B. Gillis, right? I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I really like this story.
By inker Randy Emberlin, and although you don't see it on the scan here because this is an old scan, I was at a show back in October 2019, right before the pandemic, and I had Randy sign this page. So this page is signed by Randy as well.
Oh, sweet.
And it is the last Doctor Strange related page I have from Dan. All his other Doctor Strange art is gone. This is the last one, and well, this one's gone now too. So
yes, it is. Thank you, Samuel.
Yeah, I really like this story. It was one of those stories where you know it. I mean, just this page itself here, just it felt real to me. It felt like something was really really happening and evolving. You know, just had timing, had pace, had mood. It was just really a really neat story. Featuring the Doctor Strange popping out of there at the very end, the last page.
How many Strange Tales books did you get to work on?
I remember. I can't remember. This is my
he did 11, maybe? 12, 15 through 18.
So just about a half year.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then with issue 18. They did issue 19, but that was a separate issue because issue 18 spins off into the new Cloak and Dagger series.
Right.
And then Dan did the first 2 issues of that, and then he was on to other things.
Right.
Nice. All right, let's take a look at lot 5 here. So lot 5 is another Strange Tales page. This is from issue 15, page 2, from 88.
Yeah. Now, I know this was inked by Bob McLeod, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Bob McLeod can do no wrong.
Yeah, he
say that all the time.
He did he gave it a nice feel. That's for sure. He's a real pro. That's for sure.
Yeah. So this one is $175, and you got a skinhead in this one stealing a purse,
stealing Dagger's purse. I
think that was my idea. They just said somebody stealing a purse, and I made him look like that. Yeah, it was late 80s, or, so they saw all the punk rockers and.
Oh yeah. I never had a mohawk, but it was close around that time. I was in art school at that point, but yeah, that is lots of fun. And the thing is, I saw Bob McLeod this weekend. I saw him at MegaCon, and he is one of those guys that his lines are so darn clean. Even today when he's doing con sketches, I just love his work. I mean, I should have picked something up from him while I saw him this weekend, just because he always just does a great job. He's such a nice guy, super friendly, and
real pro.
Yeah, without question. And he's been around. He told me he was going to be on the show with me in the fall as well. Once the summer con season winds down a little bit, he said he was going to be mostly busy there. But yeah, I'd love to get some of his stories from working at Marvel throughout his career.
Right, and just for folks interested in the context of the story here, what's happening in the scene is Dagger is walking down the streets in New York with her stepfather, and he's trying to get her to come back home while she's trying to say, no, I like being an independent person. And that's when she gets robbed there at the very end. A scene that could happen in New York City today, in fact.
Yeah.
That's what you get when you say you want to be independent in New York City.
That's right.
I got accepted to 2 colleges for art school. One was on the north coast, north of Boston, and the other one was the School of Visual Arts in New York City. I went to both to see if I'd like them. I was scared to death of New York City in 1986, so I did not go to New York City or the School of Visual Arts. I knew I couldn't handle it. You wouldn't catch me walking down the street saying I want to be independent. I felt like I was going to get robbed for hamburger money while I was there.
Yeah, actually, the 80s, yeah, the cities were pretty tough back then. They revitalized themselves in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, back then it was
even Detroit's much safer than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we'll see lot 5 in the recap. We're gonna move over here to lot number 6, and this is a barbed wire page from issue 3, page 1 from 1994. This is $200, kind of a half splash vertically, which you don't see too often, but very nice piece here.
You can see what Dan was saying about the inker Ian Aiken and his work on his pencils here. You can see what Dan was talking about.
Yeah, well, he just fouled. I mean, those lines there, those are my pencils that I put in. He just fouled them right on. He nailed them, just nailed them. Just made them clean, made them crisp. And this is ready for color. I wanted this to be open for color. So I'm doing a lot of the dropout kind of stuff with the things I love, the Frazetta and Gene Colan and stuff like that, and Dark Shadows and stuff like that. So. Yes, this is my favorite stuff. This is my favorite stuff I did in comics, really. I don't know what it was about it. Maybe I might have been just that I finally came together as an artist. I finally got hit my stride. I think that was probably mostly it, or a lot of it was it. You can just see it in the solidity of the faces here. That guy up there at the top, right there, that strong face. And
what I'm most impressed with is in that final panel, the close-up shot there on the guns with the detail you put on that machine gun. That is just incredible.
Oh yeah, thanks. And some of that may be Ian. I tell you, I wasn't a technical guy, so a lot of inkers came in and sort of just polished him up a little bit with the gear and stuff. So I don't know if that's. I mean, I would try to use reference and stuff, but I just I don't I'm not an expert on that all that high tech stuff.
No, it's a great page. I can see why you were happy with this the here. It is really well done.
Yep, it was a lot of fun. Even just doing that. Another thing, I'm just looking at now, like, gosh, I just split a guy's head in 2 in that final panel. I wouldn't even try that today. So, sometimes when you're young, you're just like, you got so much guts in you. You're just like, nothing stops you. You're just like, I'm gonna do this. And like, just even you mentioned I made it. I don't think this is a splash page, but I made it into a splash page with the way I arranged the panels.
Mm-hmm. All right, very nice. We'll see this one in the recap as well. So we'll move over to lot number 7, and this is from Shadow Masters number 3. This is a DPS, pages 14 and 15 from 1989. It's $225. And you talked a little bit about Shadow Masters earlier. Yeah. So this is a pretty interesting, good page.
This was Carl Potts, sort of baby. He really wanted to have this happen. So I was very grateful to him for giving me my first work, and I was happy to do my best. I don't think this is my, I think I could do something better now, but at the time I think it was my best efforts, and it's such a good story, and I really enjoyed it. So, for the story and the culture that he was, exposing me to. So.
Well, you really see some of what you've talked about with visual storytelling, like the way you laid out the movements of the action in this montage. I really like that, how it flowed.
Well, Carl sent me how these martial arts books and stuff, and he really wanted me to show these movements, and I followed these movements right out of the books, and so they have a lot of realism in the martial arts for sure.
And just so folks know, this inking is done by Todd Smith. Issue 1 was inked by Russ Heath, but the rest of the issues were inked by Todd Smith.
All right. So let's we'll see this one in the recap as well. But Carl Potts, everybody speaks very highly of Carl. I mean, I think he was very influential in a lot of new creators'
Yeah.
careers, and he had been in the business for a while. I don't know if he started late '60s or very early '70s, but he, from a lot of creators during that time period, they always speak very highly of Carl.
Yeah, he was one of the editors. They all seem to be kind of like that. You know, when they did Epic Magazine and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
These guys were really wanted to do new and creative visuals. They really wanted to do new stories and keep growing it. So Carl was one of those guys. He was looking for people who are driven and people who really had something to say. And I don't know if he saw that in me, but I certainly had the drive. I don't know if I have much to say, but I certainly loved the comic books and loved the creative experience. So
Sure. Johnny mentioned that was Carl Potts at Heroes. I didn't realize that. I mean, as much as I walked around, I never saw him. I mean, shoot, I regret that because I would have loved to have talked to him to see if I couldn't get him on the channel as well. I mean, he's somebody I'd love to talk to, but that sucks if he was there. I don't know how I could have missed him. Maybe he was in somebody's booth.
Well, and sounds like you were kind of overwhelmed as it was anyway, Bill. So
yeah, but I did walk around a lot. I felt like I saw everything, so I don't know how I missed Carl. That's crazy.
So hey, Bill, now are you now a celebrity? Do you signing autographs and stuff?
I did not sign any autographs whatsoever while I was there. I did not sign any Thor pages, as Mike Berkey always tries to suggest on the.
You need to make some 8x10s of you like as Billigan and stuff. And
I gave away some trading cards. I did do that.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. People would buy some of that stuff, I'm sure.
Well, I think it would be a lot of fun if you had
I took a lot of selfies this weekend. I did do that. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'd have a guy come over. My friend Adam is not going to believe that I saw you. I'm going to take this picture, and then he'd come back with his friend Adam, and I'd take a picture with him too. And it was fun. It was definitely very enjoyable in that regard. I mean, I think again a lot of the collectors I met there were newer. People who really come in the last 3 or 4 years, and they look at the channel as being a very very important part of their collecting career because 2 years in, they really hadn't met anybody local to them, and maybe they weren't super familiar with CAF, but they came across the channel, and then that was the thing that made them feel comfortable. Like they had
Is that true what Johnny McCloskey is saying? Bill was getting mobbed all weekend. He had a security team following him around.
Right. Scott said, yeah, when you walk the halls, it felt like that every once in a while. There was a moment where it was on Friday where 3 hours went by and I walked about 20 feet because it was like I have a 5-minute conversation with one person or then a 20-minute with the next, and I was literally in front of Essential Sequential's booth for at least 3 hours, and I didn't mean to be. I just couldn't really get beyond that, but it was fun. Again, it was just in every case it was me meeting somebody new and somebody who I had spent screen time with or at least emailed with, and was meeting them for the first time. So it was pretty neat, very very rewarding for me, certainly, just to be able to see these people.
No groupies yet, Bill?
No, no groupies at all. No,
I don't think his wife would approve of that.
No.
I know mine wouldn't.
Yeah, but it was a good time, very good time. But I'm gonna have to see if I can't talk to Carl. I know he's on Facebook too, so I'll have to reach out to him that way, see if I can't get him on the show. All right, well, let's take a look at the next lot here. This is lot 8, and this one is from Cloak and Dagger. This is issue 1, page 24 from 1988. Lot 8 is $350.
Inks by the great P. Craig Russell.
Wow.
And this is also the last page I have from this issue that has any of the members of the X Factor team on it. You can see them right there in that first panel. You got the members of X Factor in there. And on this page, a darkness-possessed Dagger is being enveloped by Cloak and is now being confronted with the demon that lives inside of Cloak's cape.
Oh, Rick Welch just got a claim on that, just ahead of Rich Donnelly.
Rich. Yeah, Rich used to sell a lot of my artwork, so yeah.
Oh, very nice. Well, he just missed out on that one. Rick Welch got that one mere milliseconds ahead of Rich. So thank you very much, Rick. That was a good pickup. Yeah, I mean, it was a very nice page. I didn't realize that was Russell, but I knew the inking was really familiar and very well done.
He inked in on both issues 1 and 2 of the Cloak and Dagger series.
Wow.
Hey, Rich, how's it going, by the way?
And if anyone's disappointed because they didn't get this, just know, guys, if you head over to my art gallery where Dan's art is at, I have other pages from both this issue and from issue 2, which are available. So if you didn't get this one, there are others. Unfortunately, you won't have any with X Factor on them, but that's just how that goes.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not, but and I'll link to your calf gallery as well after the show. I forgot to put that in there too. I apologize. This was a kind of a rush show for me today, getting kind of back in the groove after being out for 4 days. But very good. Thank you. And let me get on to the next lot here. What do we got? Lot number 9. And this is from X-Men Unlimited, issue 8, DPS. It's pages 14 and 15 from 1995. This one is $450.
Inks by Ian Aiken. Also.
Yeah, this is when I think this is when I found Ian. Yeah, and I took him with me to Dark Horse then.
You stole him away?
Yeah, I guess. Well, they asked me, who do you want when I got to Dark Horse to ink your stuff? And I said, Ian Aiken. So.
Well, and Scott Wingo claimed this one just ahead of Rich Donnelly again. Sorry, Rich, you're coming in second once again, but a nice pickup by Scott. Scott's usually a big Spidey collector, but he's moving into the X-Men world, much to the chagrin of many an X-Men collector. But congrats on that one, Scott. And
that's one thing that everybody always is saying to me, Dan, if you do a crowdfunder comic, make some women in it because I draw really nice looking women. So, and I don't know why, but I guess I do. Yeah.
Just for edification for folks, this page, this is a story from a story called First Contact. This is Gambit and Jean Grey incognito, where they're trying to meet a mutant who's coming into his powers for the first time. It's kind of like the whole Star Trek First Contact thing, where they're meeting up with an alien race. This is the same thing where they're trying to meet to get the kid to come out to the Xavier Institute, and that's, you can see here his powers are going completely crazy inside the school, and that's what brings him in.
Yeah, you don't get the cigarette nowadays, do you?
No,
you don't.
I think they got rid of it. That's okay. He'll live longer.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Scott, and thank you, Rich, as well for placing in a claim.
Scott may have pulled the trigger too quickly, because this next one coming up is sounding to be much more up his line right here. This next one.
All right, so we're going to take a look at lot number 10 here. This is a very nice page as well. This is $500. It's from Spider-Man Dead Man's Hand, issue number 1, page 34 from 1997. Really, really awesome fight scene here with Spidey. I love it. Who's the inker on this one?
This is a guy named Keith Ayakin is the inker.
Oh, right. I know. Yep.
And this is Spidey's fighting Carrion, and it's, a lot of people call this the epilogue to the Clone Saga, because it's the last story dealing with any characters with the Clone Saga.
All right, and Scott came in.
Fun time creating this.
Had Johnny McCloskey on this one.
I love like creating perspectives. If you're gonna do buildings, give it that depth, give it that feel. So I really try to do that with this, and I think it does that pretty well.
Oh yeah, no, and it's great. I love the fact that you've taken that bottom panel, wrapped it around the 3 panels up there, and it literally makes it into a splash page. I mean, it's really,
a lot of people were doing that back then, and I thought I'd take a shot at it. But it's kind of cool. It's a cool technique,
Mm-hmm. Oh no, it's fantastic. All right, well, congratulations to Mr. Wingo on that second pickup tonight.
Thank you very much.
We've got 6 more lots to look at here. The next one is lot number 11, and this is the cover to Legacy Zero from 1993. It's $550.
This is 11 by 14 in size, inked by Stan Woach, and it's from a small-time company called Majestic that Dan did a little bit of stuff for.
Yep, we did a card series. Remember when the card series were really high collect? They did stories. Well, they did a full story of Legacy, and it was really, really an interesting project to work on. It's restricted to work on card size panels, but when you put it all together, it made a comic book. So it was an interesting idea, and I thought I had a lot of fun with it. Fred Schiller. I love working with Fred Schiller. He's the nicest guy, and it was a real blast.
Well, something I found interesting when Dan sent me this piece, and I noted to him, I said, this is 1993. This is right around the reign of the Superman, when Superman was wearing a black suit. It looked very much like this. If you just take away the little toga he's wearing around it, it looks almost like Superman from Reign of the Supermen.
Yeah.
Well,
It's kind of, the idea was kind of taking a Superman and making him cool, if I could. I don't know if now looking back, maybe it wasn't super cool, but it's kind of cool.
I'm just surprised nobody got sued.
Well, it was different enough. He didn't have any, he had very different colors and stuff. I mean, it was not, it was not.
You could tell them apart a little bit. So
plus the way I drew this guy made him more, more rugged, gave him a little more Conan look, to him. So
sure.
Dan and his Conan.
Well, the 90s had a lot of interesting marketing, tactics, and like you mentioned with the card art and that kind of thing. Yeah, that was definitely unique. Something we probably won't see quite like that.
Yeah. Well, you never know, too.
Right.
People do love their cards, and there's a big market for that still. I think a lot of people collecting. A lot of people contact me whenever they see me that those cards I did for Marvel with the painted ones.
Oh yeah.
They always like, oh, I know you did that. And like, yeah, that's me. So hey, by the way, if anybody's really interested in seeing like just a wide range of everything I've done over the years, I use Instagram as my sort of my portfolio. So if you go there, you can see most everything that I've done that's pretty cool. And so you may say, oh, you didn't do that. It's just a good overview. If you very quickly, you can just scan right through it and see what my favorite images are, some stuff from my sketchbooks and all that kind of stuff. So.
All right. I'll try to link to that too when the show's over.
Thank you.
Or you can email me the link. Actually, we're in that group email. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at the last. We got 5 more lots to go here. So next up is lot number 12. And these next pieces are all kind of commission illustrations, I believe. Yep. So this, lot number 12 is $250. It's a great image of the Flash. Yeah. The size on this one is 12 by 18.
Yeah. Now that's my inking. This is just me, only me.
What really struck me about this one, Dan, is that cloud of dust at his feet. I mean, the way you did that, how did you get that texture? I mean, it looks like an actual cloud of dust.
I don't know. I just shaded it the way you do with feathered lines. So, but I really wanted, I did want to get just like, I'm trying to capture that. What would happen if someone's going that fast and the earth just ripping up,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really like that about you. Really showcase the whole thing of speed, what speed would actually do to like ground if you're moving as quickly as the Flash moves.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's fun. Trying to make this stuff more relatable. I think especially some of the DC characters, Superman and stuff, they're so powerful that they need to be brought down to earth a little bit. I mean, Byrne did a lot of that, making them a little less powerful kind of feel. But make it so you can kind of understand a little bit, and it's cooler,
All right, well, this is a really nice illustration, and we'll see it in the recap. Johnny says the Flash has ruined a lot of terrain.
And a lot of shoes, too, I'm sure.
He's out in the desert, though. He's got the Close Encounters sort of thing in the background. So he's in the desert.
So you're writing a story right there, Dan.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. This is another one here. This is a barbed wire commission. It's on 11 by 17. This is, of course, lot number 13. $300 for this one.
Yeah, and inked by the same guy who did the cover Dan gifted me, Jeff Albert. I loved Jeff's inking on Dan.
Yeah, Jeff Albert is a friend of mine. So he was one guy I knew that who lived near me, and so it was a lot of fun to collaborate with someone I actually knew and met, and so that was cool. I did a few pieces he inked of mine. Yeah, he's a very good inker.
So somebody could actually sit down and hang out with, and
exactly. Yeah, he wasn't too far from me, so yeah,
that's good. Yeah, Ron was asking where's Nick. Nick Perucci's our big Flash collector. And Marcus is saying it's the right proportions. There you go, Marcus. You got a good eye for art. But yeah, like you said, barbed wire is probably where you felt you're doing some of your best work. So,
yeah. She's a fun character. I think this was the beginning of the tough girl stuff, and she was one of the first ones to kind of do it. So I was having fun with that, and it's fun to see, the girl throwing the big guy around. It's kind of has some,
I haven't
humorous.
seen Barbed Wire the movie in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
It's making me think, like, after we're done here and I go back to work, I should put that on in the background if I can find a place.
Or maybe not.
Hey, I'm disappointed in a lot of movies from this era as well. But, you know, I mean,
Actually, I don't think it was that bad. It was
some of them
actually
still hold up, though.
Yeah, I was surprised when it was a little more risque than than the comic.
Well, and
Actually.
again, another
I mean,
thing I'm
there's a
impressed
lot of
with,
boob here, but there's a lot of boob in the movie.
Mhm.
well, I'm just saying another thing I'm impressed with this again is Dan's technical lines. I mean, look at that bike in the background. Look at the technical detail on the spokes and the tires. I mean, wow.
And Mikhail's asking about so we'll see that one in the recap here, but just might as well put the email address up here for everybody. Sequential Trez, as in treasures, at AOL.com, Mikhail. So if you have to sign off or Mikhail, sorry, I'm going to keep doing that until I hammer it into my brain.
Yep. What you do is just after we're all done here, whatever you've won, email me your list of what you won, your shipping information, and I will get back to you with your full total and payment instructions.
That is correct. So there you have it on the screen. And anybody who is interested in other stuff after the show, feel free to check out James' gallery over on CAF as well. We've only got a couple more pieces to look at here before we hit the recap. Let's see. Let me hide the banner here for a second, and we'll switch over and take a look at lot 14. It's a Scarlet Witch commission, 11 by 14 size. Very nicely done, of course. Very brilliant colors on this one, and it's $400.
Dan told me when he did this that he was really kind of riffing and trying to learn from Adam Hughes when he was drawing this.
Yeah, well, you look at the best. That's what I always say. You look at the best, and then see if you can come close to that. And I do think when it comes to women, there's no equal to Adam Hughes. So, yeah,
You won't get any argument for me. I think he's one of the best out there. That's for sure.
So this was a lot of fun, though. You know, I learned a lot. You know, like every time you do one of these, you learn a little more. And so, yeah, this is.
Now, what are the colors done in here? With what's the medium?
The color pencil, that the same stuff I use with the that I did all the Conan covers and the trading cards and all that stuff. It's a color pencil on a like a frosted acetate. What this is, Billy, we're getting back to the color thing. I was looking for something with my art samples that would have brilliant color, and I found that color pencil on this certain surface pulled the pigment out of it really well. That's possible. I think I may have actually thrown a little bit of acrylic on this just to smooth it out, because that's one thing about like this original. Because it's color pencil. There's still and this is one of the frustrating things I had with the Star-Lord was the photographing process or the scanning process picks up more detail and texture than there actually is. This actually looks nicer in person than you're even on the screen here. Mm-hmm. So it's that was one of my the lights when I started working on the computer, that I could eliminate that texture. I really didn't. I didn't always.
Well, I would say we could say it about all your art, Dan. It all looks better in person than on any scan or screen.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, but especially this color stuff, that the color pencil stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I like how you did her hair, because a lot of people when they draw her now, I've noticed, like when I'm looking on eBay and stuff, and I see drawings of Scarlet Witch, they do her hair too dark, and you kept it lighter, like more like a strawberry brunette, and I kind of like that look. So I think you did really well. That's what really impressed me on that, is the hair.
Yeah. Well, too, you want to I'm pulling the whole thing together, the costume, the cape, and they're all of the same red family, so.
Well, that's very nice. And I mean, it's interesting that you would go back in with acrylic paints as well to kind of highlight things and smooth it out. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, just smooth it out, just to kind of, I believe so. I believe I put a wash over it, but
well, it looks like it. That's why I couldn't tell. That I could see. I thought I was seeing pencil work in there, but then some parts look too smooth. So, but you said that's kind of a technique of the paper that you're using as well.
Yes,
so
yes, it does. It looks kind of painterly in a way. It's interesting.
All right. Well, we'll see that one in the recap. It's a beauty. We got two more here to look at. Next one, we were Marvel there.
Next one's going to be a little bit funny. I think we're going to enjoy this one.
That's right. There's nothing.
I'm sure we're going to see a lot of good comments come out of this next one.
Marcus, just keep yourself in check, my friend. All right, so this is lot 15. Price on this one is $450. It's Superman and Lois. Clearly, Superman has, he could have gone through any brick wall, but he had to go through Lois's shower on this one. So this commission is 12.
I told Dan,
it's not something you see every day,
Yeah, I told Dan, I said, this is why Lois hates when he brings his work home with him.
Yeah, exactly. But the same, on here, same brilliant color palette they're using. I mean, is this something that where you would have used some acrylic on this as well?
No, I don't
No,
think so. I
this is
don't
all
believe
pencil.
so. I think it's mostly color pencil, especially with the face. That because you can blend with the color pencils on this particular surface, and it gives me that. Like I say, I'm always looking for that Frazetta feel. The differences in skin tones on the face. The cheeks red, and the nose, and then the eyebrows being a little more. Is this when the skin gets sort of crinkled, it can lose some of its blood, whatever, so to speak. But so it gives them blues and reds and suntan, and it's kind of just a nice color palette. It makes it kind of interesting to look at.
What I think really makes the whole image, though, is just his expression, because he's known as the Big Blue Boy Scout, and so busting in on a woman in the shower, that would be Superman's reaction.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just cute, that kind of thing.
I think he'd give up his cape for more than likely.
He
I would hope
would.
so. She does look mortified, poor girl.
Yes, she does. So, all right. Well, we will see this one in the recap as well. And very nicely done, of course. And so we've got we have one more lot to look at, lot 16. And I think this goes back to.
This is probably going to be Dan's favorite one.
I was going to say this goes back to Dan's roots and things that really excite him, I believe. So this is a Conan illustration. It's 11 by 14. This one's priced at $1,000. And is this one all
color pencil? Yeah. Yep, color pencil.
This is Dan getting his inner Frazetta on right here.
Oh yeah, I'm just having some fun here. This is
Actually,
I tell you, sometimes you feel like you're made to do certain things. Like this Conan just. Well, I loved Conan from the start when I was my first experience is just visually. I was in grade school and I saw a Conan cover of Conan the Usurper, and I just was like, this is so, that one where he's chained and he's on the snake, and I just was blown away. And I remember reading it, and I was like, I read the whole thing. I ate it up in 2 seconds, and then I saw open the flap and it said, "Oh, there's some more Conans." Like, there's more, holy smokes, Conan the Cimmerian. And I was so excited. I actually went to the bookstore, had my dad take me to the bookstore, and I got those other books, and I was so excited. But yeah, I saw him a Frazetta, kook. So
Dan and I have talked about this image, and we said that it could have been like back in the day. This would be like the corner box image on a Conan comic.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, I would have been perfect for that. And I do love the corner box stuff. I think if I did a comic, I got to have that in there. It's just and
I'll tell you folks, again, as the person who has it in their possession at the moment, the scans, like Dan says, do not do justice to this image. This image is absolutely incredible.
Well, one question I think people would have that they may not ask is, do you take commissions, Dan? Because you look at some of the work, and you probably have a really busy schedule doing the storyboard work and these other, I guess, side gigs that you're hoping to make more permanent. But do you take commission opportunities?
I would, but just not right now, because I am kind of overwhelmed a little bit with I just got to meet some deadlines and stuff. But I'm happy to do commissions. Just but like I said, I got some too much on the plate right now to do that. But which is a good thing. I tell you, it's a good problem to have.
Right. Well,
during the pandemic, I was like, I was looking for commissions, like, and I was, but I didn't, I hadn't been out there in the social media much, so I didn't have that opportunity to get my name out. So when I needed them, I didn't have it now.
Right.
Like,
and now that but it's
good feast and famine. That's the way of the artist, feast and famine.
Well, I've always told you, Dan, it's always better to be too much in demand than not in demand. So
oh yeah, that's for sure.
So before we go to the recap, the pieces that didn't sell, Rich, you actually literally was on my mind as well. What is Dan's opinion on Johnny Comet by Frazetta? I literally, because when I was seeing the Superman image, that's the first thing I thought of was Johnny Comet, the facial expression, and I was thinking of that, and then you read my mind, Rich.
Oh yeah, I love Johnny Comet. Those some of the greatest ink drawings ever created.
Without question. Frazetta was on fire back then.
Yeah, he was absolutely great.
He could not be contained by doing strip art, at that point in time in his career. But the work as author is just amazing. I would love to own a Frazetta.
Yeah, everything he did, every figure he had just had. It's like Fred Astaire. Like just like every movement was just perfectly economized. It was balanced well and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, there you have it, Rich. All right, well, let's go ahead and just recap the pieces that did not sell. I think we sold, well, there were 6 pieces that have been claimed. So we've only got 10 pieces here to look at while we go through this. So if we'll see, first up was lot number 2. That was the Midnight Suns page, pretty much a splash. This one was for $100. It's from issue 2, page 37 from 1993. And it's just $100 for those interested. And I should remind everybody that because we do these in the evening and people in Europe don't get to watch these shows live. If you feel some of these pieces are still available and you're interested in them and you're watching it after the show, feel free to reach out to James through the email that I will show once again before the show is over, and let him at least make an inquiry, because if it's still available, you can certainly pick it up after the show as well. A lot of times when these shows are over, we still sell a couple pieces. We did that Shaken show a couple weeks ago, and he had 6 unsold pieces, and we sold 4 of them within 48 hours to people who were watching the show after the fact. So it
so we got another claim here. Michael Rock just claimed the Superman and Lois piece.
Very nice pickup there, Michael. I can highlight that one as well. Let me pull that one up there. Yeah, no, great piece there. Really like that one myself. Yeah, and you're not going to see Soups in that kind of position too often.
The only thing you'll see less is seeing superheroes in the toilet. That's the only thing you'll see less of.
That is quite true. That is very true.
Thank goodness for that, though.
Yes. So let's see. Lots 3 and 4 were claimed. So we'll go ahead and take a look at lot 5 here. That was the Strange Tales 15 page, issue number 2 from issue 15, 1988. And this has Dagger in it, getting her purse stolen on the streets of New York City. This one, the price on this one is $175, inked by Bob McLeod. And for those interested, just type it in the claim. And let's see, next up was lot 6. This was one of the one and only barbed wire page that was out there. This was page 1 from issue 3 from 1994. And this one is $200. Like Dan was saying, lots of risk taking on that piece.
Yeah.
And let's see, a lot.
Those are some shiny lips.
Yeah, they were. Yes, they were. That was the first thing I noticed when I looked at it, because I was like,
well, I'm putting that together so that the colors can complete that. They'll put in the right tones, and so it may be a little less shiny when you color it, but I'm giving them the options of how
did you write stuff in the margins for the colorists ever or anything like that?
Never.
No, you just kind of you were letting them exercise their creative muscles on their own.
Honestly, that's one thing I think I never really was too worried about. It was colors. I think that most of the colors I saw, I love the colors on Barbed Wire and Agents a lot. So I don't mind color. Coloring seems a little, you got to really, really go hard to screw that up more to me. But
right.
Yeah. So, but sometimes you get, you can tell if someone's really, really got a great palette and it's really interesting. But most of the time, it's just good old fashioned bright colors. I leave my artwork open for that. So I feel like it's like a piece like this is pretty bulletproof.
Sure. All right, so this one's out there still at $200. Lot 7 is next. This was the DPS from Shadow Masters issue 3, and that's pages 14 and 15 from 1989. The price on this one is $225. Who was the inker on this one again, James?
Todd Smith.
Todd Smith, that's right. All right, so this one, very, very cool layout. I mean, I always love page layouts where they don't use panels, right? And you just kind of let the characters, whether it's a battle scene or something else, where they're just kind of letting the action flow and define the page layout, and just completely omitting the need for any kind of panel structure. So you're doing that here on this piece, and it's really well done.
Integral part of the story too. It's just the learning of the martial arts and all that kind of stuff, and their history and that sort of thing. So.
Well, whenever I look at this image, I always keep hearing the South Park guys singing their song "Montage." That's what I see. We're gonna need a montage. Even Rocky had a montage.
Don't ruin it for everybody, James.
Thanks, Dan.
We don't sing on my channel, James.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was a rule. Sorry.
That's that. Yep. You got to put $1 in the cup now. So let's see. Lots 8, 9, and 10 were sold to Rick Welch and 2 to Scott Wingo. So let's go ahead and take a look at lot 11. This was the Legacy Zero cover from 1993. This one sold for is priced at $550, and very nicely done here. This was inked by Mr. Woach, who I think Rick mentioned was a Kubert School graduate.
And it is the last cover art I have from Dan. So if you guys wanted a Dan Lawlis cover, this is all I got.
Scott Wingo's right. Only Chaykin can sing on Comic Art Live, and he can sing. He's got and Rick mentioned it well as well. Chaykin has a set of pipes. You don't tell Chaykin he can't sing. All right, so this one, lot 11, is still out there at $550. Yeah, let's go take a look at lot number 12.
E.C. Harris asks, what's worse, singing or pasties? Well, that depends on how much hair is on the chest.
That's very, very true. Lot 12 was the Flash Commission on 12 by 18. This one was $250, inked by Dan as well, of course, on this one. So that one's still available. Let's see, lot 13. That was the Barbed Wire Commission on 11 by 17. It was $300, inked by Dan's friend Jeff Albrecht, and so that one's still out there at $300. Next up would be lot 14. That was the Scarlet Witch Commission with the colored pencils as well as some acrylic paint mixed in with this one to give it some great soft features. This one is $400, done on 11 by 14. And let's see, lot 15 did sell to Michael. So let's take a look at the last lot available tonight. That was lot 16, the Conan piece on 11 by 14. And this one was $1,000. So there you
that
go.
is definitely a face that wants to hear the lamentation of your women right there. That's
that's right.
Yeah, that's Conan is all his badassness. Ready, drawing a sword. If he's doing that, you do not want to
cross the line, and you're not going to return. So yeah, no, this is great. I love it. I love it.
Maybe the new company will use this as their little avatar at the top. That'd be fun,
That would be nice. That really would. So we've got. It looks like we've sold 7 of the 16 lots we brought tonight. So that's pretty good.
not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. So
thank you to everybody who has purchased things. Appreciate it.
Exactly.
And to all the lucky winners, don't forget, you will get a remarked autographed comic, or a defaced comic, as Dan calls them, with your order. So.
And let me show the email address one last time for everybody so they know how to get in touch with you, James. Email sequentialtreasure, short for treasures, at AOL.com, and include both the lot numbers that you picked up and your mailing address with that. And James will get a invoice out to you pronto with the correct shipping information. I'm sure James, on like with Scott, you combined shipping on those and whatnot. So there you have it. So don't delay. And if anybody's watching the show after the fact and you think a piece is still available, please email James as well. And just see. You never know if
my emails are always open.
Yep. And I will also, within the next 10 or 15 minutes after the show's over, I will link to James' Calf Gallery and both their YouTube channels, so that those of you who are interested
and Dan's Instagram channel.
And right, Dan, email me that, because I'm not an Instagram guy. So email me that, and I'll make sure I get it included that way.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much to both of you for joining me this evening.
Yeah, thanks for letting me on. I mean, I say I love the show. It's a great show, and it's just such a thrill to be part of it.
Well, it's my pleasure. Like I say it a lot. I mean, I love talking with the collectors. I love talking with the dealers, but I have a lot of fun getting to chat with the artists as well. It's not something I've, when I started CAF and the things that I've done there, I really didn't have that as a goal, but I found it to be, some of the most enjoyable conversations I get to have are with creators, just because, I mean, that's what I wanted to do when I was growing up. I mean, it's kind of what made me become an art collector. It was my way of at least being related to that profession I wished one day I could have. So it's a real honor for me to get to talk to pros in the field. And
well, careful what you wish for.
Right. Well, I haven't been disappointed too often, not terribly, but thank you both for doing this tonight. And I
thank you, Bill. We both appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, you've done a lot for this community and continue to do so. And it's just glad to be a part of it and help both grow your channel as well as keep the fun and love of this the little hobby of ours alive. And so,
Yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat too, showing up and making
Yes.
this show great. It's a lot of fun. So, and look for more stuff from me. It's there's going to be some. I
Check out
haven't
those
really
links
drawn
down there in the
comics.
description, right there. All those Indiegogos. Dan's working on that stuff. So
Yeah,
you want to go show some support.
I this is me, like Batman, a Dark Knight, coming out of retirement to and
to kill the Joker.
but I'm so ready. It's like I've got a boatload of skills. It's like I'm better than I was back then, and I'm gonna have a blast. So.
Well, it's exciting. And of course, James, if you need me to push any press releases out, just, for any art drops you might be doing in the near future, or, whenever, feel free to do it. I don't think you ever really send me any announcements to run in the CAF's news, but be happy to do it for you.
Okay, that's good. Like I said, I kind of do it all myself. I use all my social medias whenever I promote the guys, when I got art coming out or a new work coming out or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just do it all myself, just figure, you want it done right. That's what you do. So, but yeah, if you're willing to do that, I'd gladly send you an
info. Happy to do it. So. All right, everybody, we'll have a fantastic evening. I will be back here tomorrow night with Benno Rothschild, who many of us got to hang out with this weekend. I've known Benno for probably 20 years. If you look at his CAF ID number, it is, I think, 235. So he was literally there at the beginning of the website. He was a friend before I started CAF, and he's just a fantastic guy and an amazing art collection, very eclectic. And I think you'll enjoy the conversation with him tomorrow night. We'll do that at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I hope that everybody tunes in tomorrow. And again, guys, thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening, and good night, everybody.
Take it easy, everyone.